Yeah, I'm looking at other treadmills right now. That treadmill is just so aggressive. Well, even during Sober October when we were doing the thing, I mean, I couldn't even use it then because it was just a nightmare of a fucking workout.
Do you know what looks like the worst thing of all time?
What?
You know those bikes that you see like in New Orleans or other cities where they're biking and drinking at the same time? Those
I've
big.
done
that seems like the worst idea of all time.
I hate to say this, but I don't think the bikes actually move it.
You're not doing the work.
Well, the thing drives itself, and like I forget where I did it, but I did it. I must have done it in Vegas or something, but I did it in Vegas, in old Vegas.
I've never been like, I'm gonna do a couple shots of tequila and then let's go ride a bike.
I think it's kind of like it's like those it's anything that just it's the idea of it sells it. It really doesn't do what it says it does.
Yeah,
because I was on there and I was literally out of the saddle, fucking pumping it like I was in a spin class, and the thing wasn't going any fucking faster.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like you see one bike moving faster than the other. That would be a thing.
I would be very interested in getting into some sort of financial bet if that thing does work.
Right.
For me to see how fast me and a group of people can get ourselves from LA to Vegas on that thing. I'd be very interested in
I
that.
was going to propose something different. We go down to the LA River and we do like Grease Lightning style, and we get a team of two teams
I'd be interested
to
in this.
Race in the LA River.
I'd be very interested in this.
And then as teams, we put up a certain amount of money to bet.
I go to spin class every single fucking day, so this is right up my fucking alley.
I mean, I think we could Grease Lightning it and we could find a spot in the LA River.
Yeah.
And I say we get down and do it. And what is it, 8 people?
I want to say it's probably 8 people. It feels like more. I got.
Should we have a draft? I mean, that's how we should do it. We should have a draft. We should have a pool of people.
I take spin every fucking day. I take spin with John. You know John, Asian guy, worked on. Yeah. He's in my spin class.
Is he like? He can just go for.
Yeah, he's a monster. He's not in there worrying about having a stroke. I'm in spin class. It's a hot spin class, right? So it's like I think 100 degrees, 90 degrees in there, and you pour sweat. It is pouring out of you. And I'm in there the other day. I'm kind of in my little zen place where I'm like, all right, focusing, pushing, like really in there, in my moment. And my sister goes, Luke Perry died. And I'm like in the middle of class. I'm like, I'm trying not to have a stroke. Yeah. Please don't bring it up.
Let me ask you a question. You and I are around the same age. Are you at a point now where a pain that you got 5 years ago, you would have just brushed off, and now you're like, is this the end?
Yep.
Like is this the end? Like I have a little pain in my left arm. Does that mean heart attack, or does the right arm mean heart attack?
I have a pain in my thumb right here.
Yeah.
I fell snowboarding on my hand, and I think I might have maybe broken something in my hand. I haven't fixed it. But that's why I'm all into grip strength right now, because I started feeling like I was getting a baby arm. So I was like...
That's what I feel like.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, time to lift fucking weights. I've been doing grip strength techniques I bought 4 of them. They're all over the house.
I have one in my carry-on bag.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it on my
I don't have that,
flights.
But I have
This is the Camry, because I saw Alex Honnold, the rock climber. By the way, he didn't squeeze as hard as we did. He just did it with like one hand, and he's like... right hand 90, is that good? He's so
Is that the dude from Free Solo?
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, I haven't seen it. You have to go to a movie theater to see it.
No.
What?
No. National Geographic Channel has been running it straight.
Oh fuck.
Bert,
Fuck.
It's crazy.
My hand, it's so funny. I have a joke about him in my act that he doesn't drink or do drugs, and how the fuck can he treat himself?
Yeah.
Like, he can't jack off because his hands are the texture of dog paws. and I go, it's so interesting. He can't jack off, but the second I watch him climb, my hands lubricate like time to jack off. My hands get so wet the second I watch him. And all I've been doing is watching interviews with Alex Honnold and interviews with... Here's what I find interesting is he literally was like, someone asked him, so do you think this is going to spawn like a real interest in free solo climbing? Do you think someone will want a free solo El Cap again now that you've done it? And he was like, no. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind. What you've shown is a path of how to get famous.
Yeah.
That may not have been your goal, is to get famous, I guess. But this is how you get famous, is beat Alex Honnold. And there are people out there who just want to get fucking famous that are just going to go, time to free solo El Cap, do it faster than Alex Honnold, time to free solo.
Yeah, but like, there's no, if you watch that, first of all, I had no idea how intricate you have to be when you're mapping the climb.
Oh yeah, he had to climb up and then down
with a notepad.
I haven't seen the documentary, but I've watched so much video. I became obsessed with Alex Honnold. I've watched so much video about this kid. It's fucking insane. He broke up with his old girlfriend because he needed to focus on climbing.
The woman, his girlfriend in
Hot.
I don't want to ruin it for you. The first climb they went up together, she kind of let go of the rope. Dude fell, not let go, but made a mistake and ruptured too. He had never fallen. The only 2 times he's ever fallen is with this woman. And I was just like, dude, what? You gotta break.
Listen, I don't get in fights except when I drink gin. Yeah. Guess what? I don't drink gin.
Yeah, you got. But I will tell you this. You know, he said there was a time where like.
I thought you were free soloing. What? You really wanted me to hold on to the rope? I thought you were free soloing. That's your thing. Free solo, right? You say free solo all the time. God.
I will say though, man, you know what didn't surprise me that much is a dude who spends so much time alone on a mountain, not too good interacting with other people.
Dude, have you seen his interview? I'm gonna cover it in open tabs this week. His interview on the red carpet where they sit him down, they go, so you're in a North Face tuxedo, and he's like,
yeah,
and they're like, so how are you excited for the Oscars? He's like, no, I'm pretty worked. I had a pretty hard workout today. My left shoulder's bothering me a little bit. And then they're like, yeah, but you're excited for the Oscars, and he goes, no, I mean, yeah, I guess it's not now though. It's not right now. So like,
that's what the whole movie was. When he was talking with his girlfriend. At some point, he was starting to loosen up, but at the beginning, it was like a robot, or it was like somebody who came down from outer space. It's how I picture Tom Cruise to be. When I picture Tom Cruise, I think he addresses every situation. He researches every situation. This is how people are supposed to act at a Super Bowl party.
Yeah,
you know, and he'll bring a 6-pack of beer and whatever, a pizza. Yeah, this is what human beings do.
This is so funny.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am having deja vu right now. Have we had this conversation before?
I don't think so.
Tom Cruise is like that. Like, hey, to his personal assistant, Google what you bring to a Super Bowl party.
100%. 100%. Google how you're supposed to act when you're at a table with other people having dinner. Like, that's how I think. And then he does that. He'll research it. He rehearses it. And then, like, that's what, to me, what the Oprah couch thing was. Hey, how are people supposed to act when they love another human being?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, that's how I think look at his movies. That's how meticulous he is with his movies.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've had this discussion with other people before. I'm curious what you think. Anybody in the history of movies run better full speed in a suit than Tom Cruise?
No. Rich Eisen.
Daniel Craig?
Rich Eisen, I just found out that
he does that.
I found out that the cover of his TV show is him running in a suit for the 40.
Yeah.
I thought it was saying like, we're so put together, I'm running late for my show. Oh, no. I didn't know that that's what it was. No, Tom Cruise is the best runner probably ever.
He gets those little arms and legs pumping. I had an idea
that I wanted to put together a reel while I was on the road for this tour. I wanted to do a reel of I wanted to hire a crew and go, hey guys, it's Bert Kreischer. I'm not going to be able to audition, but if there's some roles coming up for action stars, I want to show you my action star reel. Here's me running. And then it's cut to music, and it's just a really beautifully shot, but it's me running. And then go, this is what I look like. All this stuff for you that are important to an action star, but I wanted to show everyone my action star moments. This is me lighting a cigarette. This is me taking a punch. Like this,
you got to take the punch and then check the hand for blood.
Yeah,
you got to look it, and then look back up. Like
I had thought of putting it together. Here's my problem: is I think things are going to change, but I need like a legit team with me at all times to fucking follow through on anything.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions about this reel.
Yeah.
Now, when you're running, are you gonna be shirtless?
Oh yeah.
Shirtless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Shirtless, 100% shirtless. I might even be in a
any
Speedo.
weapons?
No, but I've got a bunch of weapon things because I've got guns around here. So like I'm gonna have. I had planned it out. I was basically wanted to take a shot list from Die Hard, all the things he does, and then recreate them.
You know what we're gonna really need is a catchphrase. Like you're gonna need some one-liners.
I'm the machine.
By the way, I'm the machine is not, but because if you put somebody like in a meat grinder, you can always be like, I'm the machine. Or
I'm the machine. I'm the machine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deliver my catchphrase so many different ways. I'm the machine.
I'm the machine.
I'm the machine.
That's all you said. You were like Groot.
Yeah.
And all you said the entire movie was I am the machine.
Yeah.
But you said it in different ways. I'm the machine.
That is I had thought about doing a bunch of different I sent him into my manager and I was like, hey, let's get together a crew and shoot these while I'm doing my tour because I can't audition. Let's just do it's like basic audition reel.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's a great idea. And then things get away from you. You know
we gotta write you some catchphrases though. Let's think. I'm gonna think on it and send you some later. But some catchphrases I think will be really important for you.
I would definitely fucking agree. I definitely agree.
I mean, you need your "I'll be back." You need your.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. What if you just did a little twist on the well-known?
Catch you later, alligator.
I'll be back shortly.
I'll be back in 5. Went to lunch.
Yeah, out to lunch, baby.
Out to lunch, baby.
I think that would be the way to go. We just got to update him a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. So wait, how was Brody's thing last night?
Man,
and so are they not doing the one on the 11th now?
They are doing the one on the 11th.
Okay, but the one on the 11th is not going to be as good as last night.
The 11th is just for friends and family, and last night was tickets, like for the public.
Oh, yeah. I can go to the one on the 11th, right?
Yeah. You just got a call.
Yeah.
It was, man. I started with Steve in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I think one of the few people that calls him Steve.
One of the biggest hiccups in his career. One of the things I said to him is I go, Brody, there's a tad bit of a branding issue. Is that when you started to succeed in this business, you changed your name. Yeah. He changed his name at the height of his success. It was the fucking one thing you don't do is change your fucking name when people found it out.
Yeah.
He fucking changed it like he's on Enjoy It. It's things are fucking huge.
Yeah.
I run into him at Starbucks right. He was here right when he had his first breakdown. He was at my house like a couple days, like right when it was starting.
Yeah.
I was having a barbecue and he came over, and you could tell something's off. My daughters could tell something was off. Just the way his everything was a little like, and all he did was he grabbed my baseball glove and kept throwing a baseball in my baseball glove, and it was odd. And there were people here, and he just was off. But yeah, we saw him after everything started to blow up, and I said, "Girls, this is Brody. Do you remember Brody?" And he goes, "That's actually Steven, Brody Stevens." And I went, "Huh?"
Yeah.
He was like, "My real name's Steven." I was like, "But Brody, doesn't matter." Fucking
yeah. You got to keep.
Yeah.
You had a TV show and your name was Brody Stevens.
You've been working in this business as Brody Stevens for fucking 20 years. Well, it's what made him fucking interesting to me.
Dude, here's the thing. Like I said, I started with him and Joey Diaz started together. And I know you're probably wondering, why aren't you funnier? Good question. Somebody had to come in third. You know what I mean? So, but like, it was so crazy to watch him because when I met him as Steve Brody.
Yeah.
And he got off stage one night after he was bombing, the only way he could bomb.
Yeah.
And he walked up to me and he was like, man, he was bummed out. I go, you doing all right? He goes, no, Steve Brody isn't funny. And I said, yeah, you're funny. He goes, no, you know who's funny? I said, who? He goes, Brody Stevens. And I said, who's that? And he said, you'll see tomorrow. And he came back as that guy that you know.
Really?
Because what had happened, Bert, we would watch him, much like Joe Diaz. When Joe Diaz first started, and he was just writing jokes, he was funny, but not until he snapped on stage and that anger and that intensity came out.
Yeah.
When that happened, he would blow up a room.
Yeah.
And so Brody would just try to do what other comics did. And it wasn't until the first time I saw him break, he was like, I don't think you understand, people. I could not write my jokes today. And he was totally serious. It was very hard. He goes, I don't think you understand how hard it is for a single man who lives alone to shave his back. And he said, I want to show you my trouble spots. So he lifted up his shirt and started to discuss his trouble spots. I had never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
But it hit so hard because he was such a crazy combination of silly and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Usually when you're so silly, it takes you out of vulnerability. But he somehow kept ridiculous and vulnerable together. And I've never seen the combination of those two things in things that people that we know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was a true, like, to me, he's the heartbeat, like he was the heartbeat of the store.
100%.
Because any club can have huge comics like you and Rogan and Bert go down. But to me, the magic of the store is from 1 a.m. on, when Barris and Brody and those weird dudes get up and it's just free creativity and they're just up there just doing whatever.
Yeah.
That's what separates that place to me. You know what I mean?
I agree 100%. I think, Brody, I met Brody in New York when I first started. He was at Collective Unconscious, and he had the movie, I think 10 Things I Hate About You was out, and he did a joke, 10 Things I Hate About Me, and the first one was, I have hair on my penis, not on the base, halfway up the shaft, people, halfway up the shaft. I was laughing so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the type of room where that room was very alty, very, very alty. They hated me. But Brody was one of the only nice guys. That was literally only nice guy in the room to me. Everyone were fucking cunts.
But who cast a wider net than that dude? He in the alt rooms, and he could play a barn in Iowa. I saw a video this week.
Yeah.
He could play Largo. He could play the alt room in New York, or he could do the store.
Yeah, and me and Ari watched him when things were really popping for him with right after the Zach movie or TV show. Ari and I watched him at UCB one night. Murder. I mean, just annihilate that room. And I think that room was really great for him because people really were there for the ride. Sometimes at the store, there were some people that just didn't get it. And that would frustrate Brody. But man, that UCB room, they were there for the fucking ride.
Yes. He was a lot like, I started with Mitch also in Seattle. And I remember him telling me, I forget the exact percentage. He might have said 15 or 20. But he went on a van tour with a guy named Chard Hogan. You ever meet Chard?
Uh-uh.
He went, and this was back before the internet, and they drove around the U.S., and they would stop at mics, and then they would ask the people where they did the mics, can we get some food? We'll take out the trash. And that's how they did the whole tour around the country. Mm-hmm. And he came back, and he was like, I consider myself to be a 20%er. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, when I walk into a room and nobody knows me, I get 20% of the crowd. The other 80% has no idea what the fuck they're watching. Yeah. He said, now I just got to figure out a way to get the 20% together. And that was the same with Brody. That UCB crowd, and then one of the reasons that I consider him to be one of the braver performers that I've ever come across is because think about it at a place at the store or the Laugh Factory when there's a lot of tourists or you're Brody, you're walking on stage. Your first 5 minutes, at best, people aren't going to get you. At worst, they're going to fucking hate you. Hate, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you watched him a couple times and you saw people in the audience like, what? Is he talking about his GPA?
I watched him one time dissect the bus maps in Tarzana to an audience of people that were not from fucking Tarzana, but walk you through the bus maps from Tarzana.
Yeah, dude. There's no way he would ask people in the audience, "Where'd you go to high school?" And they'd say the high school, and he would name the mascot.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Not college mascots, not pro, high school.
He told my girls they were 818 till they die.
Yeah.
He was like, 818 till you die.
Dude, when my son was 10, I asked him, I go, "Hey, Brody, you want to come help?" They're Little League.
Yeah.
Trying to help the kids, teach them how to pitch. And he goes, "How old are the kids?" And I go, 10. And there was a long pause. He goes, "I might be a little too intense." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. You're probably right, man." Yeah, there was one time in Seattle, there was a homeless clown in Pioneer Square that we all walked past.
Yeah.
Brody befriends this dude.
Of course.
He brings him on stage with him at the open mic. And when I say homeless clown, I mean a dude, it looked like he'd been fired from his clown job 10 years ago and he just left the shit on.
Yeah.
You know, finger smudges on his face. You know, just like the water in his flower, Bert, just dribbled out. It was fucking so terrible, right? Brody brings him on stage. And we're at the Comedy Underground, 5 minutes. And Brody basically said, Larry's always, we'll say his name's Larry, I don't forget his name. Larry's always wanted to do some jokes on stage. You guys, we walk past him every day. I'm going to use my 5 minutes to let Larry, you know, live out his dream. Larry, everybody, Larry, right? And the guy starts to bomb. Yeah. The people in the audience thought it was part of the act. They thought maybe Brody and Larry are always together, right? So they start to heckle or boo or whatever. And Brody's like, "Come on, everybody, this is for Larry." And he's bombing more. So Brody comes up and just puts his arm around him, Larry, to say, "Hey, everybody, this is my buddy Larry." And as soon as he touches the clown's shoulder, the clown turns to him and goes, "Touch me again and I'll murder every fucking person in this room." And we were all like, "Oh my God." And there was a long pause and Brody just went, "Larry, everybody, Larry." It was so crazy, man.
The funniest thing I've ever seen Brody do is on Enjoy It at the very end when he gets on the Vespa and wrecks it. Oh
man, I saw the video you did with him walking by your house.
Yeah, I was. By the way, it sounds silly, but I saw Brody more than any one comic ever because
that's the Starbucks.
That's the Starbucks, and so literally every day he walked by my house. Every day he went to that Starbucks, he walked by my house, and so my kids knew him, my wife knew him, like I knew him. I remember one time I was telling Leanne this last night. I remember one time we had gotten a new car. We had gotten a BMW, and it was out in the front. And, you know, if you walk by someone's house every day, you know what cars they have. And now we have a new car, and I saw Brody walking, and I love Brody, but the look on his face is like, motherfucker. Like, you can see, like, and I was sitting in my Adirondacks, my front yard, and I saw him looking at my BMW, and I went, "Brody," and he goes, "Hey, Brody Stevens." Because, you know, there was a sadness about Brody where he felt, which I never got like about when was it going to be his turn? When was he going to blow up? When was he going to pop? And what's so crazy is, like, you know, I lost a lot of jobs to Brody, a lot. Like Brody worked a lot.
Yeah.
Like a great deal. Definitely. But before I was doing Travel Channel, Brody booked a lot of stuff.
He also, I think, had 2 specials, one Comedy Central.
Yeah.
He did a couple of late night spots.
And this is what is confusing to me, because he was everyone's favorite comic. We all loved watching him. I don't think there's a person that could leave the room if Brody was on stage.
Agreed.
He didn't have any drama with anyone, no beef with anyone. Everyone loved him. Everyone literally said his name with excitement. And yet, at the end of the day, he like, what the fuck? Like, that's where I'm lost.
I'm lost too. You know, for me, dude, for someone that the hardest thing for me is that I just can't, and I'm okay. Like, every time I go to the store, it's really, I think I'm okay, and I walk into the store and I'm like, oh fuck. And the hardest thing for me is just knowing that that your friend was in so much pain, man.
He was in.
To do it the way he did it, dude. that you didn't take a pill to do it the way he did it. You're torturing yourself.
He hung himself.
He hung himself, man.
How do you hang yourself in an apartment?
That's another thing. Like, this isn't something I'm just going to do it. I'm going to pull a trigger. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take 20 pills. And this is not. This is not me. It's not a 160-pound dude who could probably dangle off of a lamp.
Yeah.
This is a big guy. So he would have had to test shit. He would have had to, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't come to terms with it. I can't figure out why a guy who called everybody all the time, who knew he had so much support.
He said one time, I heard him say one time, I have a lot of friends, but I don't have any friends. Like, I think he was, I can identify with that, in that I have a lot of friends, but sometimes you go, like, this business is so fucked up. And there's, you go, I have a lot of friends, but do I have any, like, who are my friends? Like, Ari Shaffir is a perfect example of, like, a guy who I've said is my friend, but if it wasn't for Ari, we wouldn't be friends. Like, he's always reached out to me going, hey, I'm going skiing, you should go skiing with me. And I'm like, oh yeah. Like, if it wasn't for Ari, we talk on the phone, we text, but like, I'm really bad at maintaining friendships. I'm just bad at it. I think I got burned a couple times, and I've always been wanting to keep everyone at arm's length.
Something also happens when you have a family and kids, like, it rearranges priorities a little bit. We had
family drama last night, and I was supposed to go to the store, and my wife's like, I think we should lock it down tonight. For my kids, the big thing is not having their dad home when they go to sleep. That kind of bothers them. So I just can't go to the store the way I'd like to. And I've got to really plan it out with my family and be like, and I've been on the road for 2 straight months. So they were like, it's nice to have you home and us all watch TV. And then my one daughter said, it's nice to know that when I go to sleep, you're in the house. I was like, okay.
Dude, I identify with that a lot.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's like, I look at some of my friends who, like Segura, I don't know how he does. I really don't know how he does that, where he goes, I'm going to the store.
But your kids and my kids, I remember the same. Like, I disappeared from doing stand-up in town a lot like you did. Like, you didn't do stand-up in town for a long time, right?
For a very long time, yeah.
Me too, because my deal with my wife was, she was like, you travel so much. You're going to come back in town.
And then go out?
And then go out?
And if you're going to go out, you go out at 8 to do the early spot at the Improv, then you go over to the store, and then you're going to be out until 2 in the morning. You're going to sleep in. You're not going to see the girls in the morning. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you're Rogan, who has an insane work ethic and can literally go to the store, have 2 shots of whiskey, smoke a joint, not get fucked up.
I know. And then be up tomorrow morning at 6, 7 a.m. and just like, what's going on?
In a hot yoga class, then over to his compound where he starts lifting weights and practices his bow, then does a podcast, then picks his kids up from. He's just next level. I can't. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I don't like my kids that much. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've told my son that before. I'm like, listen. He's like, are you gonna? No, I don't. But I always told him, he was like, I'd like to play hockey. I'm like, I don't like you that much. Hockey skate time starts at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Are you getting yourself there? Because guess who's not driving you?
Yeah.
It was like with the other parents. But the other parents like their kids more. They're willing to sacrifice more than I am. I've already sacrificed enough.
Do you think do you ever hear that story about Brody going to the Thailand to the boys' floor and pushing it to the limit?
Yeah.
I pushed it to the limit. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. And he always had that thing about his mom thinking he was gay. I never thought he was gay.
No, I think, and he said a bunch of times, I think I'd like to have a family and kids sometime. I don't know if he was a self-aware guy, man. So I don't know if it was him not thinking he could take care of himself. So how is he going to take care of other people? But if comedy is your only thing, and it was. He was
his
alone
only thing.
a lot. Those pictures in Starbucks, when I look back at him now, when you're looking at him, I was like, oh, that's perfectly Brody, great posture.
Yeah.
Always alone.
Uh-huh.
Always alone. And that's why, you always saw him out, because what's he going to do? I would assume for a guy like that, and the more it makes sense now, the positive energy, push and believe, you got it. All this positive was also him telling himself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think that alone time, man, was a fucking killer for him.
Yeah.
But think about it. Who are you setting Brody up with? I mean, who? I'm a girl. You're gonna set me up with Brody. Pitch me.
I got this great guy. He's
Okay.
in great shape.
Great shape.
Really funny. Really funny.
What does that mean? Why did you make that face? What?
I don't. Now that you say that, I go. I don't know if I could live with that. Like,
Pitch me. I'm a solid. I'm just I'm average. I'm a solid 7. I'm not out of his league.
Yeah.
I'm just an average person. Pitch me, Brody. Because this is what you did. He's funny.
like. I mean, he was fun. Like I
Okay, that here. I'll tell you what I'm into as a woman, and you pitch me. I like athletic guys.
Okay.
I like sense of humor,
Yep.
and I like a guy with a sense of adventure. Now pitch me, Brody. Go ahead.
He's a great looking guy. He's in great shape.
He's a great looking guy.
He's a good looking guy.
Tell me who. Tell me who he
beard
looks like.
can be aggressive.
Who would you say that he's looked like if I was gonna?
My Uncle Dave.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Brody would be a hard sell because he was an intense guy. He was just intense. I've said this, and I've said that I don't know if this is true.
Yeah.
I don't know if I dreamed this or I saw it on Periscope or what. But I'm telling you this as a real memory. I walked through the parking lot where the Starbucks is.
Yeah.
And he was sitting in his car playing drums on the driver's wheel, which was interesting that he was in his car because he lived so close. And I said, Brody, you drove here? And he's like, I'm driving Uber, waiting for my ride to pick up my ride. And he's playing drums on his steering wheel. And I thought, whoever got in that Uber was in for a fucking ride. Like they had no idea what they were getting.
No, because one, I would have to tell my Uber driver, hey, can you stop drumming on the wheel and maybe grab it with your hand?
He would periscope. He drove Uber for a second, and he would periscope the person.
What's the worst when you get into a car, an Uber driver? What's the one type of driver you're like, man, I hope I don't have this dude? Talky guy?
You ready for this? This is gonna sound really bad.
All right.
A female.
Is that because of how she's going to drive, or is it?
I have a theory, and this is a little bit of OCD.
Okay.
That women ride the brakes. That all women ride the brakes. My wife does it.
Yeah.
And it makes me crazy. And I have never driven with a woman in my entire life. Now I say that saying, like, sometimes you go, every time I get in the shower, the phone rings. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Every time you get in the shower, the phone rings? I heard someone say this one time, and they were like, no, it's not that every time you get in the shower, the phone rings. It's that every time you get in the shower and the phone rings, you recognize it. And then that is the thing you recognize. And that, like, you go, every time I look at my watch, I see double numbers. You look at your watch a lot and you don't notice the double numbers. But when you notice the double numbers, you go, holy shit, man. Every time I do, and
I do that every time I look at the clock and it says 9:11. I'm like, I think every time I look at the clock, it says 9:11.
you just happen to look at the clock a lot.
Yeah.
And then you also see 9/11. And whenever you see a 9/11, that stands out to you. So I think it's that case is that whenever I drive with women and they ride the brakes, I notice it more than anything. And I go, all women ride the brakes. But with Uber drivers, explicitly, I go, God damn it, man, they all ride the brakes. And it gives me anxiety. And I get out of a car going like, just get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I don't like cologne guy. When I can smell the cologne guy to me is the worst.
I've had cologne guy so bad where I have to roll the window down because I'm getting an asthma attack.
Yeah, cologne guy to me is first of all, that much cologne, I think you're covering up a crime. Like something happened in the backseat of the car where you're like, just pour some Car Noir on that and it'll go away. Like something when you have that much cologne, you're covering something up.
There is the one thing I hate with Uber drivers is, by the way, this sounds like hardcore first world problems, but one thing I hate is you can't tell them directions. You can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I know. And you're like, no, I know, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
And then I always wonder, so if that's what mansplaining is, like when a woman goes, oh, a guy's always got the answer, and they mansplain it to me. If this is what it feels like when you're in the back of an Uber and you're like, hey, man, don't take a right on Riverside, go straight. And he goes, I know. And you're like, oh, you didn't know.
Yeah,
I had to tell you.
You didn't because you
I
didn't
saw you
do
get in the turn lane. Like, you definitely didn't know. Dude, can I tell you what happened yesterday?
Yeah.
We're sitting at that parking lot by the Starbucks, and a guy, I think he was an Uber driver, because he was in a suit and it was in not an Escalade, but a black Suburban, threw his trash out the window on the floor. And I thought, so am I willing to get into a fight over this? Like, am I willing to get in a fist fight over me? Like, this guy's never going to learn a lesson, but I can't. I'm like boiling inside.
I hate that shit.
I was like,
the cigarette out the window too.
Yeah.
I said something to a guy once, cigarette out the window, and it was on my street, and he pulled in and he parked in front of me. I go, hey man, you flicked your cigarette out the window? And he goes, well, I don't want that smell in the car. I'm like, yeah, but now we all have to fucking.
Yeah.
Now because you smoke, now I have to deal with that shit?
I picked up his garbage and I threw it away. What I didn't know is there was a guy standing. I was with my wife. I was with my wife and my daughter. And there was a guy standing next to us. And I just said, fucking, what the fuck, bro? I go, are you fucking kidding me? And I just grabbed his garbage and I looked at him. And I picked it up. I showed it to him and I put it in the garbage can. Guy didn't really give a fuck. He really didn't give a fuck. He was from somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
He really just was like, no, that's what you do with garbage.
Yeah, you throw it outside.
Yeah, you throw it out windows.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, hey, wait, are you gonna say? What, do you have a problem with immigrants? Yeah. This is the way we live. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I understand this is America and you guys have rules, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
This is America. I get to live my life the way I want to live it. And I was like, and I fucking threw it out, and I was like, and I walked past him, and he really, honestly didn't care.
Give a shit.
He didn't take it as an affront even at all. Like, he was like, almost like, hey man, thanks for throwing that out for me.
Yeah. Can you come over? The living room could use a touch up.
But his buddy, who was, I didn't realize it was his friend. I thought it was just another man walking with us, goes, oh bro, what the fuck, bro?
Oh, he started to mock you?
He was mocking me, but to his friend, but he didn't know, his friend didn't know that he was even like, he just goes, what the fuck, bro? And then they said something in
yeah.
And I was like, motherfucker. And then I thought to myself, was that worth it? If I would have lost that fight, two dudes against me in front of my daughter, I would have scarred her forever.
That'd have been a tough one.
Yeah, and then I'm like, where do you draw the line of like, okay, this is when I actually fight?
Well, I think getting beat up in front of your kid is a good line. I think that's a decent line. I will tell you, I think there should be other rules in place. Like when you see the trash, for example, like if you see someone let their dog take a shit on the sidewalk, you should be able to pick that shit up, follow them home, and throw it at their house.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the way they learn their lesson. Like,
oh yeah.
So for things like that, for the trash, you should be able to pick it up, follow him home, and maybe shit on his lawn.
I was thinking about getting my trash can and dumping it on his car,
which would not have ended up well. Hindsight being what it is.
Well, clearly, I would have had to pick it up again. He's not picking it up
after he beat you up.
I just wish I knew how to fight so that I could beat people up in those situations, or at least feel confident.
Do you now, on a scale of 0 to 10, how do you rank yourself as a fighter? Oh, let me ask you a better question. Because I asked Brendan Schaub this question once, and his answer was ridiculous. What percentage of people in the world do you think you could beat up? Now, Brendan said over 99%, which is probably true.
For him, it's definitely true.
So this is what I was thinking.
I was going to say 50.
Well, 50% of the world is women.
Oh, definitely 50.
Okay, so... yeah. We're dealing, and you got to deal with women, old people, and children. So I'm giving you the majority of them.
Okay. I like where this is going.
I'm giving you the majority of them. When we get into dudes, that's when I think I'm going to have my biggest. Now, I'm not a big dude, so I'm not even saying I could beat up every 16-year-old kid.
How tall are you?
5'5", depending on what shoes I'm wearing. 5'10" and a half.
I'm 6'1"
Okay.
My wife said, I wouldn't mind you being 2 inches taller today. In the shower. We were in the shower. She goes, I wouldn't mind you being 2 inches taller. I was like, the fuck?
What? Yeah.
By the way, I'm fucking. You want to hang out with someone who's 6'3"?
Today?
Yeah.
Why just today?
Yeah. And then she's like, I'm just breaking your balls. And I was like, no.
Do you and your wife shower together?
We did today. I got into the pool and I got ice cold. And then I got in the shower with her and fucking hugged her and scared the shit out of her. I got ice cold in our pool. My body gets so cold. I get in that pool for like 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then I get so cold that I can't warm myself. And I've had days where like it's like noon and I'm still shaking from that pool. But my wife hates it. We shower together.
I hate showering.
I shave her. Her.
You do?
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Great job today.
That's a lot of pressure.
Oh,
Have you ever nicked it?
Oh yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, blood and all. Yeah.
What?
Oh fuck.
Wait. Okay, I have so many questions. Okay, is it always in the shower?
No, never in the shower.
In shaving cream?
Nope.
Dry?
Yeah,
Dry with a straight
I
razor?
gotta be dead honest with
What?
you.
Like you're in a western? Like
I'm the barber of Seville. I'm the barber of Seville.
Wait, do you do is it like a straight blade?
No. So actually, what's the name of that box right there?
Is that what you call it?
No, is that's the name of the company? So Manscaped. I was like I don't like lying, but I hate telling the truth because this is gonna suck. I was 256 when I came off the road. This is the lawnmower 2.0 on Manscaped. Is a great fucking personal testicle vagina razor.
Wait.
It's in my house. This is just the box.
This is not electric. It's a razor.
It's electric, but its clippers are not sharp in the sense that they're not meant to cut you. They're almost like safety.
Okay, let me ask you a question because
Sure.
I've accidentally clipped my nuts before.
I have too.
And it not only does it hurt, but it seems like a little shock wave.
I have not only clipped my nuts, but I have straight up fucking blown out tires and scraped up my taint.
Oh, dude. Do you remember the first time you nick your nuts, you think you're going to bleed out? Like you can't believe.
Oh, yeah.
You can't believe your nutsack. It's like your forehead. You nick it and it bleeds forever.
And you're like, mother of
Is this
God.
how, the first thing I thought was, do I have to call my parents? Like, is this how it ends?
Wait, how old were you the first time you shaved your balls?
See, I don't razor my nuts. I just trim them down. So it's not
So
crazy.
here's what I do. This is a great fucking line of conversation. So at the beginning of this, when I got off tour from my last date, I think it was in Vegas, I was 256. This is probably the heaviest. It's the heaviest I've ever been, but I've been that a couple times.
Right.
And so the first week the first week back I did a cleanse, and I got down to 246. And at 246 is when I can start shaving my balls again.
Why?
Because I can't see them. Because it's a lot of guesswork. It's just looking over a belly going
you need a friend from kindergarten to help you out.
See those balls.
Why no? If you shave your wife's, why won't she shave your nuts?
I don't trust her. I trust myself shaving balls. Yeah. I've been doing it a while. And so
why does she trust you to shave her vajayjay?
Well, I've fucked up a lot, but I think trial and error, she now goes, I need a trim. That's what she said today. We got out of the shower and she was a mess. And I go, holy shit. She goes, yeah, I could use a trim. I said, I got these great lawnmower 2.0, the thing that Manscaped gave me. And by the way, they're not even a sponsor of the podcast. They're just these people that sent me a fucking package of this. And I was like,
it looks like a good one.
It's a really good, it's small, but it's I want to say it's like injury proof. Because I think the clippers are rounded at the edge, so they're not in there to cut you.
Well, have you made the mistake and got too close yet?
Oh, dude, that's the problem with like straight up beard trimmers. Is beard trimmers are like big and they're there to like just get whiskers.
Yeah.
And so you can't really like those can catch skin really easily. Beard trimmers, and then I also have liners. That's what black dudes use when they shave.
Yeah.
And liners can get it like razor close.
Do you so your nuts are smooth?
Yeah.
That makes your nuts smooth?
That is oddly enough, that is the best.
Do you stretch the skin?
No. What I do is I get my nuts cold so they tighten up. And I just go around and just like tighten them up. Just get all the hair.
It's like shaving a brain. You don't nick it or anything?
I go right off the edge of the sky. Like I go right, almost like you're just going like right over like this. Like just, and I do that all around. And then on the sides, I can go straight to skin with that thing.
Yeah.
On the sides, and I can, and the base of the shaft, and then I look at it, and I try to go so that the nuts are clean, the dick's clean, and then I do like a little Caesar cut above the dick. Like I just trim the line, like keep the line up so you see the very beginning of the dick, so you see more dick. It's a nice little move.
Wow,
Dude, I've done it, no joke, where I have trimmed, I've just experimentally, I've done a lot of things with my balls, with my testicle hair.
Really?
I've done.
How much can you do with nut hair?
So first of all, I've had a Brazilian wax. That was aggressive.
Wait, explain exactly what the Brazilian is. Is that from asshole to...
It's everything. They clear everything off the fucking map.
Which one hurts? Which part hurts the most? The asshole?
The pubic hair.
Really?
The asshole doesn't hurt. It actually feels kind of good.
The mound part?
Yeah, the mound
hurts the most. More than the nut in the taint.
When they pull that off, you're like, oh fuck. The nuts and the taint are just. It's like. I remember just moving around a bunch because it was just having wax inside your asshole. Like they spackle your asshole. That fucking sent me. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
how's that warm liquid on your?
It's hot, and it's on your asshole.
That's what I'm saying. That's got to be way more, because I also found out there's a trend of people getting asshole tattoos. And I talked about.
I have a friend, Carmen, who's got an asshole tattoo.
What?
Yeah.
And so, but that's like the most sensitive skin on your body.
Yeah, I don't know why you get an asshole tattoo.
Who are you showing that to?
Your boyfriend, I guess?
Yeah, but then the only time your boyfriend is seeing it is probably when he's having sex with it. So then you're gonna, like, what if you had an asshole tattoo? Like, what do you put on your asshole? I was talking to Freddie about this.
A target.
A target? A clown's mouth?
Yeah. Kilroy.
But so how much can you do with your nut hair?
So it's not as much your nut hair. This is what I have done in the past. Number one, I've also trimmed up instead of seizuring it, at the base of my dick, I trimmed up an inch. So when it looked like there was another full inch of dick, but it's just skin. It's super deceptive. But then my wife called me on it.
Who are you trying to fool? She knows how big your dick is.
Yeah, no. It was...
She's like, yeah, I've seen it.
She's like, wait, what's going on there? And I went, nothing. Yeah. And then this is the best one I've ever done. This is hardcore. I was really proud of myself. So it was when I lived in New York. I was single, and it was back when I was like shaving my chest and everything. And so I go to shave my pubes, and I decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim them down to like a 5, right? So it's just like some stubble, but like long enough, like maybe like this long, but you can see them. You can still see hair. And then what I did is I did a sunrise. From the base of my dick was the sun, and just like Dennis Rodman's sun arrows coming out, like rays coming out, like wavy rays. So I drew it in magic marker, and then I trimmed all the hair that wasn't colored. I trimmed off, right? Then I washed the magic marker off, and I was astounded at how good it looked. It looked so
I'm gonna have to try
fucking real. Like it looked, you could see it. So then that night we go to a party, and I am telling everyone what I've done, and they're like, no fucking way. And I go, yeah, I'm dead serious. And girls are like, I want to see. I was like, well, I'm not going to just show it here. I'll go in the bedroom. I showed about 4 or 5 girls, and then one of them I ended up hooking up with, and she was just like, I want to see it again. And we went into the room. She was like, can I feel it? And I was like, yeah. Boom.
Yeah. Can I feel it? Yeah. That, by the way, that's the most successful shave story of all time.
Oh, another time, when I got the Brazilian wax, the night of the Brazilian wax,
that's all bald. That's just no hair anywhere.
Everything was bald.
Did you like that?
I actually I didn't like the pubic hair gone, but I loved the baldness. I loved it. It was so clean, wiping your ass.
Yeah.
It was so. I remember the only thing that threw me off was like when you farted, your ass would clap because there's no hair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I
brap.
like that. The ass.
I loved it. I loved it. It was super clean.
I have to tell you, so I never liked women that were completely bald, like no hair.
I don't think. I mean, Leanne has been like that in the past, but I'm not a fan. I don't really care.
Beth did it once, and I was like, babe, I just I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like you're a woman. Let's see a little hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's see. But I will tell you, like, changing it up every now and then is not a terrible thing. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to give you something a little different to look at.
Can I tell you? There's a porn star that I used to be. I'm like, obviously I'm a married man, so I'm not like in love with her. I'm not like a guy that would ever go see her dance or anything.
Yeah.
But I was really fascinated by her. I followed her on Instagram. I think it started on Snapchat when I first got on Snapchat. Her name is Jessie Andrews, and her pubic hair was so. I gotta find.
There was one porn actress that I used to follow named because she used to tweet out the craziest things before 8 a.m. Like I would always just tweet back, haven't even had coffee yet. But you know what I mean? Like she would send something out like successful anal gape. I'm like, it's 5 a.m. What the fuck is happening over there?
I wish I could fucking.
She's got crazy.
This is a tweet from 2011. And I can't find it. It's like all it says is playing with my pubic hair. And I was like, but she had like a
playing with it.
She had a legit bush, and it was so sexy. And I was like, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, what? This has changed the game. Like
see, here's where I don't. I don't mind the bush up here, but when it starts to travel,
I don't like it down. I don't like it going up under.
No.
I like it on top.
I still have one question about the nicking your wife's vagina.
Yeah. I've done it a couple times.
Yeah, how does she allow you to do it again? Is my question.
Oh, let's ask her.
Oh,
hey, babe.
Oh, are you still podcasting?
Yeah, I'm with Josh. We're actually talking about shaving pubic hair right now.
Are you?
Yeah, and Josh, I was telling Josh that I've nicked you in the past, and his question is, how did you ever let me do it again once I nicked you?
It's called true love, baby. True love is based on trust.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Did you go to therapy already?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I'm sorry to interrupt your podcast. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
I'll talk to you when you're done.
All right. Wait, are you coming home?
All right. I'm going to Target.
Okay. All right.
And then I'm going to go pick it up.
Okay. All right. I'll see you when you get home.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye. True love, I guess.
How long you been married?
I don't know. 50? No, I know. 14 years.
And your kids are how old?
14. And 12.
Got it.
We're waiting until the oldest one does the math on that.
Yeah. Oh, she maybe already has.
Wait, how long have you guys been married?
Wait a second.
14 years. 14 years and 6 months. Wait, I'm 14. I know.
Huh. Okay. Who wants more potatoes? you know, the dinner conversations. What my favorite dinner conversation I ever had with, my kids are older now.
Yeah.
One of my favorite dinner conversations I ever had. My daughter in high school went through a bisexual period. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting at dinner, and it was me and my daughter, my wife, and my youngest son. And she was probably 14 or 15 at the time. And she started to cry. And she said, I said, "What's wrong, babe?" And she said, "I think I'm dating Savannah," which is her best friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh." And I go, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "I don't want you to be disappointed." I go, "No, I'm not disappointed." Yeah. And then my youngest son, who was 12 at the time, goes, "I'm in an Armenian gang." And I was like, "What?" Yeah. I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, hold on with that. I'm going to get back to that.
What game do you think we're playing here, guys?
I told my wife.
I killed a man on a ride home one time.
I killed a homeless guy with a shopping cart. What? So I told my daughter, I'm like, I'm just happy that she's happy and you guys are good to each other. That shit doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Is she good to you?" And she said, "Yeah." I go, "You happy?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "You ruined sleepovers. Like if you were sneakier, Yeah, I know. You know what I mean? Like,
Can't have sleepovers anymore.
yeah, she's gonna have to sleep in a different room. I asked my son, I'm like, what do you mean you're in an Armenian gang? He goes, yeah, they let me in today. I'm like, you're not Armenian. He goes, I know. And I said, what does that mean? Tell me what does that mean? He goes, well, we sit at a table at lunch and we make fun of the people who aren't Armenian. And I said,
You're not Armenian.
yeah. I was like, but you're not Armenian. He goes, yeah, I know. I go, why are you in the gang?
Yeah.
He was like, because I bring people over for them to insult. I'm like, oh, you're like the fetcher?
Oh, that's great.
And he's like, yeah, but they don't insult me. And
He's like their bottom bitch.
yeah, exactly. He was like, you know, like with the Italians, he's like the half Italian. It was like, can't never actually be in, but he's in the group.
God, that's funny.
Yeah, man. You know, but the dinner table is when we heard some of for whatever reason, they felt the most comfortable saying the weirdest shit out loud.
Isla said to me yesterday, 2 days ago, I guess. We were talking, and they said, I'm doing Conan on Monday, and we were trying to think of what story I could tell. And Isla goes, why don't you just tell that story of when you and Hitler robbed a train? And I went, what? She goes, isn't that the story you tell all the time? Weren't you friends with Hitler? And I go, no, honey, Hitler was
she's
dead.
telling people at school?
I go, no, wait, what are you talking about? She goes, didn't you rob a train? I go, yeah. She goes, I thought you did it with Hitler. I went, no, with the Russian mafia. Yeah. She went, oh, sorry. And I go, wait, how many people have you told that I love Hitler and that I'm friends with Hitler? And she was like, I don't know. I always thought it was you and Hitler that did it.
Oh, I got so many questions for you, man. Now, you're 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Into boys yet?
Yes, but is a very young 14 and won't admit it.
And are you, because I remember going through this, where are you with her dating? Where are you on the realist? Because I always ask fathers especially, where are you on being realistic about your daughter messing around with dudes? Like, where are you on that scale?
It hasn't happened. I'm pretty certain, only because she is still, like, they have a thing called a morp. It's a backward morp. It's a backwards prom.
Yeah.
So you dress like slummy, and you go to it, and the girls ask the boys. It's basically Sadie Hawkins.
Yeah.
And so she asked a boy that I don't think she has a crush on, but she asked a boy that we all know, we've known for a really long time, and she was so defensive of, like, we're just friends. We're just going as friends, that I felt like going, like, hey, if you like him, it's okay.
Yeah.
But she would never, I don't even think she'd admit it to herself. I think she is very, I wish this wasn't the bad word, but very retarded. Like, meaning, like, held back, like emotionally stunted. Yeah, stunted is a better word. But
retarded is a funnier word.
But yeah, but it really is what it is. Like, it's held back. And so Isla, some teacher at school told us Isla was boy crazy, or 11-year-old or 12-year-old, and we were like, what? And I think Isla, I don't know if Isla's gonna, I think she'll have one of those periods where she questions her sexuality. She is very, like, she wears men's deodorant. She likes men's clothing. Everything's men's. So, like,
it's so weird when they start doing adult things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And start having. Does your 14-year-old smell yet?
They've been smelling forever.
The misconception that only teenage boys smell.
Oh.
My daughter's feet. Yo.
It's like
smell worse than mine.
My youngest daughter's feet are so bad that they made her go out of a classroom one time. They left her shoes outside and made her wash her feet. Like, her feet it's like she gave them to a homeless person to warm up with. They're so fucking bad. Her room smells like fucking feet.
You walk into that room. You ever walk into the room and you're like, hey.
I go, what the fuck, Isla? I go, you got to wash your feet. She would take them out. She would take her shoes off. She would wear cowboy boots to school with no socks.
Oh,
right?
no.
And she would take her cowboy boots after school off. And here's what's brilliant about my wife. And I always say, like, I was just saying this to someone the other day. Where was I saying this about when you look for a partner, make sure you find someone who doesn't mind getting a table when it's a packed restaurant.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't mind. There's other things in a partner you need other than tits and ass. Mm-hmm. One of the things my wife is so good at is my daughter's shortcomings or eccentricities are the things that theoretically they could be very self-conscious at, my wife celebrates it. So like when Isla's feet started smelling, I was like, they're fucking disgusting. And then Leanne, noticing that I was mocking my child and she could get insecure about this, she claims them and goes, no, that's my favorite part about Isla. I love those swampers.
That's a great trait for her to have.
Oh, she does it with Georgia. Georgia has this like a mole, not a mole, but like a freckle on the center of her chest. And I think Georgia was self-conscious of it at a certain age. Georgia went, Mom, what is this? And Leanne's like, that's my favorite part of you. That's Percival. And Georgia's like, what? She's like, that's Percival. I've named that since you were a baby. And now Georgia.
That's amazing, dude.
It really is an amazing quality Leanne has, that she finds the thing that you would be self-conscious of, and then she finds that to love more in you.
You know when I was growing up, when I was most self-conscious of, did you have brothers or sisters?
2 sisters.
So I had 3 older brothers. So they were sure to point out any little thing that was wrong with you.
Yeah.
So I wore a t-shirt at the pool in the summers because my brothers used to always tell me that I had meaty nipples. And they were, yeah, I remember I was in the backyard once and my brother was like, man, you got meaty nipples. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I've never seen anything like that before. They're real like fleshy. I wore a shirt. Now, if they had celebrated it and been like, yeah, I love those big ass, thick ass nipples, I'd be like, yeah.
But my brothers love my nipples.
Yeah. But it's just like, the reason I started wearing a hat all the time is because when I was probably 13 or 14,
yeah,
my dad was
have hair.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up.
My dad was walking through.
Your hair
It's crazy.
all over the fucking
It's
place.
crazy right now, isn't it?
You have so much fucking hair.
My dad was walking through the kitchen, and I was washing dishes, and all he said was, "Whew, you got a big forehead." I put on a hat the next day. I think I've worn one for the rest of my fucking life. But that's
Are you
know
serious?
That was it. All it took was one. Yikes! What the fuck? And I was like, well, got to put on a. Because then my mom said, I said, Mom, Dad said I have a big forehead. And she was trying to do what your wife did, but she didn't do it as well. She said, that just means you're extra smart, babe. And I was like, that means I have a big forehead. You did not help me. Yeah, man. Was there anything you were self-conscious of growing up in particular?
No.
Really? You didn't have a thing as a kid where you were like, oh my fucking God.
I had bad teeth until 9th grade. I mean, we all had, my whole family has bad teeth. We're born without enamel on them.
Huh?
I was born without enamel on my teeth.
Yeah. So what does that mean? They crack? They chipped a lot?
They crumble. They just get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they just wear down. There's no sturdiness to them. George and Isla had it. I had it. My sisters had it. And, but at a certain age, they just got in front of it and gave me and crowned my teeth. Mm-hmm. I guess I was always self-conscious. I guess I was self-conscious of my teeth, but I don't really remember it. All I know is I was telling Georgia this. I was saying I had a hard time smiling and laughing before 9th grade. I noticed that I would cover my mouth up, but I didn't have if I smiled or laughed, but I wasn't self-conscious of it. I had girlfriends and stuff, and I was cool, like I wasn't like an ugly person, but I think that was probably the biggest thing I've ever been self-conscious of is my teeth.
But you put it all out there now, man, as a person. You even said
hardcore.
You even said it earlier. I hate lying about, which means you share.
I hate
everything, but do you share everything almost to get out in front of, so you can't? It's impossible for someone to insult somebody who's out in front of everything already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's even if you put stuff out there, you're self-conscious of it. Like my problem with oversharing or telling the truth in moments where maybe I shouldn't is like when I started doing stand-up, I had one joke about getting in a fight. It was 2 stories mixed up. It was about a fight I'd seen with this one kid who wasn't supposed to win the fight. He was like the nerd or the kid they were making fun of. He beat the living fuck out of that kid. And then another story about me getting in a fight with this black guy, and I mashed him up. I mashed him up to make it a better story. And I remember getting confused on which one was which at times, and I was like, okay, I'm going to stop doing that. So I started just going like, and Andy, this is going to sound silly, but I remember hearing Andy Dick on Stern, and Andy Dick was sharing was just so fucking honest. It was compelling to me.
Yes.
And I was drawn into it. Like, this guy doesn't have a secret. I remember being so fascinated by that form of entertainment that I think I leaned into it with stand-up, and I was like, here we go. If I do stand-up, I share everything 100%. And I remember, like...
How long ago was this?
This was a very long time. This was very early in my career. But I remember I'd say stuff that I didn't know was funny. I remember telling Jay Moore that I spit on the toilet paper when I wiped my ass. And he was like, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Yeah.
And he couldn't stop laughing. And I went, it's not funny to me. It's just what I do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, that goes in the act. Anything that seemed revealing, like Leanne farting during oral sex, if it seemed like something that How
does your family handle that? Your kids
well,
too?
Not well. I mean,
who's worse about it, the kids or Leanne?
I don't know. It's my daughter. Let's ask her. Hey, what's up, baby? I'm doing a podcast. What do you need?
I was just going to ask you how last night went.
Oh, it went good. I'll tell you what, why don't I call you when I get done? Do you have softball today?
Yeah.
It's raining. What are you going to do?
We're in the gym.
Okay. All right. What, do you need to be picked up from school?
Right now?
No, after softball?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll come get you.
Okay.
All right, I love you.
It ends at 5.
Okay, I'll see you then.
All right.
Can you edit out my daughter's school? All right, I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
The kids don't like the jokes about them?
They don't mind. Like, so I talked about George and Anna getting their period on Conan, and at first they were like, ugh. And then Isla started getting a bunch of emails from little girls that got their period and decided to throw themselves a period party because they'd heard me talk about it on Conan.
Awesome.
And then they were like, oh, that's cool. And now they're a little bit more open to share. Like, they're cool with me sharing stuff. But the problem is I shit on them a little bit, but they get it. They get that I love them, and they get that, like, it's a joke, and I'm showing parts of them where they were being stupid. I'm not sure. That's the other thing. They were like, so wait, do you only show the parts where we're idiots? And I was like, yeah, that's the
funny
fun
part,
of it.
yeah.
I'm not going to, I don't like comics who like, my kids are fucking awesome. They're badasses. I'm like, some of us don't have that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah.
That's not our experience raising kids. That's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
And so I'm like, so they're cool with it. Like Georgia, there was like when we were driving and I was talking about bits I could do, Georgia was like, oh, why don't you talk about the categories? And I was like, because Georgia was just an idiot when we were playing categories and she misunderstood the question. And I thought, okay, so they're cool with it. They're cool with it now. They're cool with it right now. I don't know. The material I'm working on now too is not super revealing. It's just like, it's showing that they're fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I never ran it by them. I never run it by them.
You know, the way I did it with my kids, two things. One, so I never, say a story happened when he was 14.
Yeah.
Jacob. I would wait 2 or 3 years because I always felt like, and he did too, if I told it when it happened, it felt like I was making fun of him.
Yeah.
If I waited a couple years, it felt like we could look back and laugh together because he felt like he was older and not that. But the other thing that I do, which I think is a little different than you, so I take, it's interesting, man, that we have similar styles in approaching.
Yeah.
So, but I'll take a story and I'll tell it exactly how it happened the first 5 to 10 times I'm on stage with it, right? Because I want to know what part of the actual story and the truth work the best.
Yeah.
I pull all of that. What helps my son is to either add a little bit of my older son into the story or just spruce it up here or there, because then he can look at it and be like, well, that's not 100% true. And that's easier for him.
Yeah.
That makes it, you know what I mean?
I told a story one time. I was working on a story on stage, and we were telling it. We were in London, and I was doing a show in London, and my family was over there with our friends, and our friends had come see me perform, and then we came home. We were all having breakfast out in wherever Shakespeare grew up, in Essex or whatever. We're having breakfast out in Essex. I think that's where it was. It was wherever Shakespeare fucking lived.
Yeah.
And
do I look like a dude who knows where Shakespeare lived?
no, that's all I remember about that town is it's where Shakespeare grew
Yeah.
up. And so we're having breakfast out there, and they're talking about this bit, and I had switched Georgia to Isla. So I gave Georgia. I'd switched the two of them for whatever reason. I wish I could remember the bit. I don't think it was a bit that ever made it in a special. And they were laughing about it. And Georgia goes, "But that's not what happened." I go, "I know, but it was easier just to give Isla have Isla do it." She goes, "Yeah, but that's a lie." And I go, "It's not a lie, baby. It's a comedy. Like it's an act. I'm creating a story to make people laugh, and my whole goal is making people laugh. Like if I change the name of someone here or there, it doesn't really matter." I go, "I'm not making up the story. The story happened." She goes, "Yeah, but," she goes, "but you're lying. Like you're lying to people." And she started giggling at it. She goes, "So you're a liar? Is that what you do? You're a liar?"
Oh no!
And my wife, on a drop of a dime, said, "Hey, don't ever call your father a fucking liar." She goes, the lies you think he's telling paid for this trip. So I don't ever want to hear you ever call your father a liar. He's a stand-up comedian. Comedy is about writing jokes and making people laugh." And she goes, "It is not Georgia. He's not up there supposed to tell the fucking truth and just make it boring as shit. If he decides to change your name in the story to Isla or Isla's name to yours, I don't ever," and everyone at the table was like, "Oh, that woman just stood up for fucking everything that pays the rent."
Yo, every dude who's listening to this is like, "I want to marry Bert's wife."
Dude, I remember having a conversation with Georgia that night. We were she had fallen on a rock, and it was a long story, but we ended up together at a park at night. Both families were there. They were walking the dog, and I was talking to Georgia, and she said, "I'm sorry about calling you a liar." I said, "Listen, it's fine." I go, "Baby, what I do is a lot of times you'll take what is the truth and hide part of the truth to accentuate the tension.
Yeah.
Or you'll overemphasize a small truth and make it a bigger truth so that it heightens the moment.
Or you can rearrange. You helped me with a story once, man.
I remember this story. That was a great story.
But just moving something to the end of that happened.
Yeah.
But moving it to the end of the story changed the entire story.
Yeah.
For the better. For the better. So it's not exactly how it happened, but it's how it happened. Do you know what I mean? But our job isn't to go up and put our hand on a Bible and swear. Our job is to entertain the people who are sitting in front of us.
It gets tricky because people have bought into being a fan of mine mostly based on the fact that they know the machine story is true.
Right.
And so like and that I actually did fight a bear, and I actually did jump out of a plane with Rachel Ray, and I actually did do flying dildos, and like all that because they're true. I think people think it's easier to get into being a fan of mine where they go, "God damn it, who the fuck is this guy?"
Right.
But that's not to say that I'm trying to think of like a perfect example. The story of me fighting a bear. I have the video of that. I found the video of me fighting the bear. Mm-hmm. It's not as good as me telling the story.
No.
Like it's like when I watched it, I went, okay. I remember being there and it being bigger in my mind.
Yeah.
But I watched it and I was like, that's definitely not as scary as I'm saying it. And I was like, okay, I'm never going to post this. No, I'm never posting this. But my job is not to like talk about bear safety. It's to tell you about the one time I fought a fucking bear. Fucking.
Well, you know, it's funny when you tell stories.
Yeah.
And so people, I have that story about that's out right now about a bachelor party that I threw for my buddy, right? And people's first question is it real? Now, it is real, but my question to them is always, does it matter? Does it matter to you if it's real?
So that story I told you about the two fights where I mashed it up. I know it's not Gary Mann. In my recollection, it was Gary Mann that came up to me, but it's not. It's not. But a guy came up to me who worked for Aspen at the time. Mm-hmm. This was 1997, 98, 99, maybe 98. By the way, Gary Mann, if you worked at Aspen for then, it was you. Gave me his card, and he goes, "Dude, that was fucking amazing." I was like, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "Is that true?" And I was so excited in the industry to talk to someone and say that it wasn't true that I was like, "No, I actually made some of it up." And then the look in his face was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's a couple different stories." And the part that the ending, I just made that up. And I was like, I thought he'd be excited that I was a brilliant writer. And he was like, oh. And he kind of just walked away and didn't say anything.
It's so
and I
crazy.
Went, and I was like, okay. And so I think I know there's some comedians that their whole thing is to make things up now. It's like it's not based in truth at all.
Right.
And it's been a popular part of the genre. It's like, not to shit on them, but look at Bobcat. It's like Bobcat didn't really talk like that. So that character.
But guys like, Gary Valentine.
Yeah.
So I love Gary.
Yeah.
But his thing is he says ridiculous things on stage with 100% confidence.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing. You've seen that joke about him shirtless shooting a bow and arrow off of a horse.
Yeah.
That story clearly never happened.
Yeah, and so, but I think with podcasting, the dialogue between the fans and the artists has been so cut into a vein of honesty.
Yeah.
That I think sometimes.
But what you do here as a podcaster and you as a performer are two different things. It's two different genres.
It is, but it's almost like baking versus having a sandwich shop. Like if I bake bread, but I also have how I make my living is a sandwich shop.
Right.
Well, if you come to my sandwich shop and I'm not serving the bread that that I bake, that I talk about baking on my podcast, like that I bake at my bakery, and you've seen me bake, then you're gonna go, well, wait, what are you doing?
Yeah, but what if the other bread you serve is better?
But I think that
what if the bread you bake on the podcast, is great to talk about, or the bakery is great, but it doesn't taste as good with the sandwiches because the bread with the sandwiches
there's part
needs
of it,
a little sauce on it.
There's part of it where part of it is that, but when they come to I think when people come to my live shows, they've said things to me where they go, talk about things have happened on the podcast, like where the girls have come in or we've shared a story about Isla on the podcast, or Georgia or Leanne, and people are like, tell about the story, talk about the dog, talk about this, and you're like, and that's them wanting a sandwich.
Yeah,
they want a full sandwich, but they're telling you they just want the bread, but they want the sandwich.
Yeah, they want
too.
the whole sandwich. Yeah,
they want the whole sandwich. They're like, I want your bread in a sandwich form. Yeah. Make sure it's done properly.
Tell me it's bread, but put some meat in there too.
On my solo podcast, I've done more of it where I got into, there's a bit that I've wanted to do that I haven't about me running safety valet at my daughter's schools. Mm-hmm. And I fucked that situation up. By the way, now that I say that, I bet that fits perfectly in my bit about taking care of my daughters.
What did you do? Wait, so you had to get there early before everybody else?
I had to get there
what time of day is that?
7 in the morning. Whew. 7 in the morning I gotta get there. I bring my kids. I'm actually watching other kids too. I bring them all. And safety valet at our school was basically what you do is there's 4 different safety valets on each block of the school, because it's a public school. It's 4 blocks. The one I was running was inside a parking lot, and it was a teacher's parking lot. And so the rule was there's no double parking. There's no flying around people. There's no trying to, because it's a parking lot, you can't fly around someone. And the parking lot's off a busy street. Got to keep the handicap spots open, no double parking, and that was the rules. And so very simple. But they were the rules. Mm-hmm. And the weird thing about me is I'm a hardcore rule follower, but I don't believe the rules apply to me often in certain situations.
So you want other people to adhere to the rules?
Here it's the same thing about that fucking littering. Like, I am a hardcore rule follower.
Right.
If I see someone littering, it fucking sends me out. I would never litter, but that's just me. I would never litter.
Right.
But and I only say the rules don't apply to me in certain situations. I just go, not fundamental societal rules, but in certain scenarios, I will want to walk around the rules and go, I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm going to do. Leanne just points that out. So I just say that to be culpable. But so I show up at 7:00. I get all the kids, and I like an idiot. I dressed like an enforcer. I was in a full Adidas tracksuit with a fucking hat and glasses, because I was like because this is problematic. In this parking lot, people always double park and park in the handicap spots. Shades too. Definitely. There's a picture of me I'm sure that's on my Instagram, of how I dressed that day. I am certain of it. And so people start coming into the park, and it's great. Everything's going great. Open the door, you see the kid. I'm a little aggressive. I'd be like, hey, make sure you tell your mom you love her. And you're like, I love you. And then parents would laugh, the kid would laugh. But everything's going great. I got all the kids. And anytime someone tries to fly around, I'd go, whoa, 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 whoa. Nope.
When you say fly around, you mean pull around the car.
And they're lined up, and someone would be like, fuck it, I can't wait in this line. And they'd fly around. You can't do that because kids are walking through the parking lot. People are like flying into the parking lot. I'm lighting them up. I'm like, you can't do that. Not allowed to do that. Everything's going fine. Barely anyone's breaking the rules. And all of a sudden, someone flies in and parks in the handicap spot, a woman, a attractive woman. And I go, I'm sorry, you can't park there. And she goes, no, it's okay, I'm a teacher. I said, it doesn't matter that you're a teacher, you can't park there. She goes, it's fine, it's okay. I go, no, actually it's not. And I shut it down. I go, actually it's not. You're not handicapped. You're not allowed to park in a handicapped spot. Please get in your car and move it. And she goes, whoa, 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 what's with the attitude? I go, there is no attitude. You're breaking the rules, and I'm telling you can't break the rules. And she goes, I will go into Miss Garcia and tell her that you're talking to me this way. I go, please do. My name's Bert Kreischer. Tell her I talked to you this way because you parked in a handicap spot. Now, I'd also taught the kids in the background to go, you're setting a bad example. You're setting a bad example. So she goes into the principal's office, and at the same time, another woman just comes in and double parks. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Now I am fucking on it.
You're hot, too.
I am hot. I'm like, move your car. And she was like, whoa, not a great way to start your day. And I went, no. This is a perfect way to start my day. By enforcing the rules, get in your car and move it. You're not allowed to double park. And then a mom, who's horseback riding mom, goes, you're endangering the lives of our children by double parking. Please move your car. And she goes, hey, I'm a teacher. I go, I don't give a fuck what you are. Get your car and move it. And she goes, I will talk to Miss Garcia about this. I go, you go into Miss Garcia and tell her Bert Kreischer sent you. And now the kids are like, you're setting a bad example. You're setting a bad example. So Miss Garcia comes out. Now, by the way, school's about to start. I have a car double parked and a car in the handicap spot. Miss Garcia comes out. I think that was her name. And Miss Sanchez, maybe. And so she comes out and she is like shell-shocked. And she's like, okay, I have two teachers crying in my office
Were they
right
crying?
now. And I go, yeah. I go, well, is it the people who parked right there and right there? She goes, yeah. Listen, we've got to find a middle ground. Now the teachers are coming up. They're still crying.
Yeah.
And I go, they're crying because they're wrong. They're crying because they're wrong and their words aren't working because they know they've broken the rules. And they come up and they're like, you can't talk to us like that. I go, I actually can. I go, this is my job. And I look at Miss Garcia. I go, you tell me what the rules were. If the rules are not that, then I messed up.
Right.
But you told me no one parks in handicap spots and no one parks double parks. And I said, and I followed those rules. Now, if those aren't the rules, then I am wrong. But if those are the rules, they're wrong, and they both owe me an apology. And she was like, and the one goes like, I'm not apologizing to you. And I go, okay, how about this? Get in your car and move it. And I said, listen, ladies, I cannot care a lot quicker than I can make you care. So if you want, I'll never help this school again. And I'll come up at the PACE conference and I'll tell all the parents they shouldn't help because there's no leadership and there's no rules.
Oh, shit.
The fucking shit is falling apart. Now they're both like looking at Miss Garcia. To
who's
like,
in the parking lot at this point in time?
It's just three of us. It's four of us.
Kids are already in school?
Okay, everyone's in school. Bells rang. By the way, these two teachers aren't even in their class yet, right? Shit's fucking falling apart. So I say to them, I said, I've been at this school for 4 years. There's a handicapped father. I watched him walk from down the block on his crutches because you were parked in a handicapped spot.
Is that true? Or not?
It's 100% true. He did walk from down around the corner, but I don't know. He didn't pull in.
Yeah.
He didn't look for it.
He didn't try, but yeah.
He didn't try. And I said, we have a handicapped parent who may need that spot. And you parked there. I go, I've never once thought I'm better than a handicapped person, that they should park around the block. And I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. Congratulations. I will make sure that every parent knows not to help because there's no leadership at the school. And now they're like, okay. And then once teacher starts crying again, she goes, I'm not a bad person. I go, listen, I'm not calling you a bad person. I'm telling you broke the rules. And when I told you broke the rules, you then came at me like I was the one who broke the rules. I go, I didn't break the rules. I was simply trying to uphold the rules. And Miss Garcia is like, ladies, I need you both to move your cars and you can never park there again. And they both get in their cars. They go find spots on the street. They're late as shit. I tell Miss Garcia, I'm never going to help the school again. I didn't like the way this was handled. And I get in the car. I call Leanne and I go, you are going to be so fucking proud of me. She's in London. And she goes, really? I go, yep. Did safety valet today. And she goes, really? I said, I made two teachers cry. And she went, Bert. And I go, oh, fuck them. She goes, who were they? I go, I don't know. This one lady with straight black hair, kind of really pretty. And she goes, oh my God, that's George's teacher.
Oh no.
And I go, are you serious? And she goes, yeah. And I said, and there's a Russian lady. And she goes, oh my God, that's Isla's aide. I go, are you fucking kidding me? She was like, you made Isla's aide cry and you made George's teacher cry. And I was like, oh, fuck. I fucked up so bad. So bad. It was, I mean.
I had
have
to go in. Have you been into parent-teacher conference?
I went into this woman. Actually, the woman.
Oh, dude. Well, wait. So when you went in, because you had to go in a little bit hat in hand, right? Just kind of like.
First of all, I would pick up Georgia from class. And I knew the teacher. They both apologized to me. And so I just kept it. I didn't realize it was George's teacher. And so the first day I had to go pick up Georgia up at class. And I was sitting there and she came out and she goes, I'm sorry about the way I'm really bothered that you think I'm a bad person. And at that point I was like, listen, you're not a bad person. I might have taken it a little too far. I was hopped up on coffee. It's 7 a.m. I go, those parking lots, everyone's breaking the rules. And I might have just dumped it all on you. I didn't apologize to Isla's aide at all. What happened is Isla came to school with a machine shirt on and Isla's aide was Russian. And she said to Isla, what's the machine? Who's the machine? And Isla goes, oh, my dad's the machine. She goes, what? She goes, that's a picture of my dad. And the lady was like, huh? And she's like, he robbed a train with Hitler. I don't know what she told her. I don't know what she told her, but she told her it's a video that he's famous for. You should watch it. So the woman watched the video of the machine, and like 2 weeks later, she came up to me, and she was like, said something in Russian to me, and I went, yeah. I replied to her in Russian, and she said, wait, you really speak Russian? And I was like, a little bit. I don't, And she was like, I'm sorry about the double parking thing, but. So she goes, you really robbed a train, didn't you? And I said, yeah. She goes, I watched that story. It's real. I said, yeah. And she was like, I lived in Russia. I go, yeah, I know. I clearly. Yeah. She was like, oh my God, that's an amazing story. I showed it to all my friends. And I was like, oh, thanks.
I texted you after my story started to go.
Yeah.
I haven't asked you, like, when the machine really hit, did that change the trajectory for everything for you?
Oh, 100%. Overnight.
Right?
Overnight.
And how do you treat it? Because I'm honestly, every time I do my shows now, I'm humbled by the fact that people love that story so much that they ask for it. Do you still have to tell it at shows?
I still tell it at shows. And by the way, I'll joke, I'll always be like, I'll tell that until the day I die. I don't mind. I'm very happy telling it.
Me too.
The fact that anyone wants to come see me stand up. See, here's the problem is that, like, when you get success at a young age, you think it's deserved.
Yeah.
When you get it at an older age, you realize it's earned, and that when you earn something, you feel grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember my uncle. My uncle's a very wealthy man, and when I graduated college, I wanted him to just give me a job, and he said, "No, you need to be doing stand up." And he said, "You said that's your dream. Follow your dream. Trust me. If you give up on your dream, you'll always regret it." And I remember being like, why can't he just give me, I want money. I didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. And I was like, in my head, I was so clear. I was like, why can't he just give me a job where I can make money so I can have money? I want money. And then the first time I made a chunk of money, I called my uncle and I was like, hey, thank you for not making it easy on me.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for telling me that the hard path, the earned path is a much more, you feel grateful for it.
I'll tell you, our path is a little different. Chelsea was an amazing time.
Yeah.
And it was really to be involved with something like that.
I would love to see a documentary about.
It was crazy.
Because it was so fascinating. I remember watching that Chelsea basically skyrocket ship.
Yeah.
Just all of you guys just take off.
But it was interesting. Took off, right? And then when the show ended, you started to realize, oh, they were her fans. So it was a big flow and then ebb. And to have it start to come back, I appreciate it so much more. Dude, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I appreciate 100%. It so much more. And I tell crowds, and I truly believe this, every show that I do, when I look at those people, think about if you wrote a list of people you would leave the house to buy a ticket to go see. Is it a huge list?
No, it's pretty small.
And then think, every time I'm on stage, I think, I can't believe I'm on somebody's list. That blows me away. When you go to a theater, dude, that you're say how many people in the theater?
1,800.
Dude, 1,800 people left the house to see. Does that blow you away? Must blow you away.
I am shocked. Can I tell you what dawned on me the other day? I did Atlanta. I think it's 18 is the Tabernacle?
Yeah.
I did 2 shows at the Tabernacle. 2 years ago, I want to say, Segura did the Tabernacle. He did 2 shows. And I said, I can't believe 3,600 people know who you are. Forget that it's Atlanta. I go, you're my friend. I know who you are. But I can't believe that 36 people, 100 people in Atlanta, a place where like all my friends from college live in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That I can't believe my friends know who you are. So I did the Tabernacle and I had some college friends there, some guys that were in my fraternity, and they were like, dude, you know how fucking weird that is? They go, I can't believe that 3,600 people know who you are. They're like, we're in line and there's people who know you, but they didn't grow up with you. That's fucking insane. It blows my mind. And I think when you're our age and success starts, you see success happening in whatever small amounts that we have. And just to be fair, I think both of us are well aware we're not David Spade or Adam Sandler or Rogan or any of these big fucking huge acts. Ray Romano, Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock.
Yeah.
We're not Dave Chappelle. We're just guys making a legit living. Like making a living, being able to take care of our family, buy a house, have cars, and relax and go, all right, we're not broke.
But not in a point where like we're going to take 5 years off.
No. I'll be working every single day for the rest of my life.
Yeah, me too.
100%. But I think that in what happens to us is we're like, oh, this is what we've always wanted.
Yeah.
And by the way, like I don't look at it as work, so like I definitely don't have a problem doing it every night.
Yeah.
I will do it. I will go out and tour the hardest you've ever seen a comic tour, only because I absolutely fucking love it.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking so grateful. I remember, I think I without saying names, it makes it hard, but there's like comics that like I think they take it for granted. Like,
yeah, I think
the younger ones, when you're younger and it happens for you, and I can say that, you say with Chelsea, you were like, oh, this is happening, you're younger. For me, it was the entertainment business. Like I was getting TV shows and I was on TV shows. I had a TV show at a deal. I was friends with Will Smith and all of a sudden everything went away and I went, oh, I'm not the golden child.
Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck does that mean? I think when you see people that
when that dip happened.
Oh, it's happened a lot of times.
Yeah, in our by the way, in our business, if you don't have ebb and flow, you're lucky as shit.
Dude.
How many times have you thought, well, this is it. That's it.
I can't tell you. I can't fucking tell you.
So many.
And by the way,
times.
it'll happen again, and I'll feel like it again, and I'll go, "This will never go fucking rebound."
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I remember being in a park in Pan Pacific Park, no work coming in, running out of money, calling my manager. And going, hey man, I need to get some work. I need to get some work on the road. And he goes, hey man, I didn't get into this to book the Chuckle Hut. And he was like, I'm not. If you want to be an actor, then we work together. But if we're not going to be an actor, then if you want to be a stand-up, he goes, there's no future in stand-up. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I didn't get into this being an actor. I have no interest in being an actor.
Yeah.
I still to this day don't have an interest in being an actor. I don't have an interest in doing fucking voiceovers. Like, who the fuck wants to do voice? Like, I never understood that in my brain. I'm like, it's a great gig.
Yeah, no,
it's a great gig,
either.
but I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like reading the same fucking line 9 different ways. And so I like coming up with a joke and then figuring it out and bringing it on stage.
Yep.
That's my whole thing. I remember being so lost in that park going, literally thinking, okay, I had a good run. I was on a TV show for about a year as a host. I had 2 development deals. I shot a pilot.
A bunch of shows.
I've hosted a lot of shows. I shot a pilot, and then I literally thought, that'll be a good enough story to tell people to get a job at a car, like to move back to Florida and sell boats, and then they'll be like, Bert was on TV. I was like, yeah, and I could spin that into being a little extra of a salesman. I remember thinking that and then I was like, hold on, because I really didn't. I mean, in all honesty, I didn't have any talent. Like I wasn't like talented. I just was lucky. I mean, I'm not to discount people that you see blow up and they're very young, and then, but like. I didn't have any. I was an okay comic, but I wasn't like a talented host, and I wasn't a talented actor. I was just a guy who got 2 or 3 opportunities, and then those went away, and then no one wanted to give me any more opportunities, and I realized, oh, that might be it for me. Dude,
not too long ago, right before that story hit, I was telling my wife, and this is a year and a half ago, dude, 2 years.
Yeah.
I said to my wife, I'm like, I think I'm going to have to stop touring. And she said, why? And I said, just the tickets haven't come back after Chelsea. And one of the reasons, by the way, they didn't come back, and I didn't know this when I was in it, there was a huge section of the population that did not respect or consider the people who were on that show to be comics.
Well, I think in all fairness, there was a group of comics on that show that were really fucking good. Yourself, Joe Coy, John Caparulo. I've never seen John Caparulo do stand-up, and no one's ever shit on his stand-up.
Dude, his stand-up is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him live do stand-up. I've seen bits and pieces online. Across the board, everyone, as all they've ever said is that guy's an amazingly talented stand-up.
I love Kirkman's stand-up.
Yeah.
I do love.
Oh, yeah, Jen Kirkman. Yeah. But I think what was happening was like the Rosses. There was that guy who was in Ross.
Yeah, not a stand-up.
Not a stand-up, and I think people confuse the idea that guy, well, he was so good on the show.
Yeah.
And I think they just thought across the board, well, there's not, and there would be people that weren't stand-ups on the show, so it wasn't like a full stand-up panel.
Yep.
And I think that is where it got twisted. Dude, it's the same thing happened for me for Travel Channel. I really think there were a lot of people that heard me on Rogan knowing I was on Travel Channel and just thought I was a friend of him through Travel Channel or something. Because he'd have Les Stroud on.
Yeah.
And I think when they saw me do stand-up, they're like, I didn't know you did stand-up. I think a lot of them didn't know that I did stand-up.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think I heard Rogan talking about that.
I talked to him
because he said something about people would call him the Fear Factor guy and not know that he did stand-up.
Dude, that happened for him. I mean, I never like putting words in Rogan's mouth or speaking for him.
Yeah.
But I do know.
I thought I heard him say something about that one time.
I was taught. There was a period of time, and I've heard him talk about this, where he would go out and people thought he was the Fear Factor guy.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a weird branding. It's the same thing we go with Brody about changing his name. Yeah. But like, there's a weird branding where people go, oh, I recognize you from the roller coasters. They'd come to my stand-up shows and they go, talk about Top Thrill Dragster. And I go, oh, I don't really talk about roller coasters on stage. And then they'd just be like, then what do you talk about?
Yeah. Well, I hosted a shark show.
Yeah.
And after one of my stand-up shows in Orlando, some guy was like, you didn't mention sharks. I'm like, what? He was like, no, you did like an hour, but no shark talk. I'm like, yeah, it's not. I mean, there's not a lot. I don't have a lot of shark jokes.
That
dude.
Chelsea, what was that? What was that like? Because you were friends with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'm bummed that she doesn't do stand up anymore.
Yes.
She made me laugh.
Yes.
So fucking hard.
I would agree with that. When she was doing stand up, she was also so far ahead of her time. I remember we were at the Improv once and she got off stage after a good set, and this was years ago before the show. This was before anyone knew who she was. And she just said, she was so self-aware. She said, these tits are going to be a problem. I said, what do you mean? She goes, I can see people in the audience. If you're a woman sitting next to a man who's looking at my tits, now neither one of you are paying attention to my comedy.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
I told a girl the other day on Kill Tony, I was like, why don't you start with the fact that you're not wearing a bra? Like, tell everyone, hey, I'm not wearing a bra. That's all I looked at. That's all I fucking looked at. And by the way, her back was to me, but that's all I fucking looked at.
You know what she said?
It's so hard being a fucking female and doing stand up, especially if you're, I mean, and I look, I'm not gonna, I don't want to speak for women, and I apologize if you're a woman and you're like, we don't even know, Bert, things are so complicated these days, especially with women in comedy. It's gotten so fucking, especially in the New York scene, but not so much here. But like, when you're a hot woman, that's a little bit of an uphill battle. I would say it's easier to be an ugly woman and do stand up.
Without a doubt. You know what she did? She just got out. You know what she did before almost anyone else? She got out in front of it. So it's exactly what you said. Mention it before they can start thinking about it. And she would just get out in front of you. So you couldn't go down that path. She already did it for you.
Yeah.
And she would take the worry out of it. She would make herself less threatening. Because when you're good looking with nice,
I think she is so sexy. And the problem with me following her on Instagram is her dog's name's Bert.
You know, we were on vacation once. This is one of the reasons why I really do. Look, you know, people have their own personal opinions. I love her because she's an all-in person.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of person.
Yeah.
And I also like 100% honesty.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm probably 168 pounds now. I got up to 195. The reason I dropped weight is I was walking upstairs once at work, and just from behind me, all I heard was, "Oh, your ass is so fucking gross." And I turned around, it was her. She goes, "You look fucking terrible. What's going on with you? Get your shit together." And I was like, you know what? You're right. I should probably get my shit together.
She's a brutal motherfucker.
She doesn't throw jabs.
Yeah.
She throws punches.
I'm very cool with never meeting her. I'm very cool with never interacting with her.
We were on vacation once, and she came out of the room. We were on a boat. She had very generous, so she had rented for all of us. And she said to the person who she was staying in the room with, "Hey, I took that pill you left on the table for me." And the woman's name was Sue. Sue was like, "I didn't leave a pill out." She goes, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Who put that pill on the bedside table?" The maid had just found a pill under the bed, and she just put it on the table. And Chelsea, when she saw a pill, just put it in her fucking mouth. Oh. So we just watched her like a science experiment for like an hour. I'm like, "What are you feeling like? Any tingling or numbing or anything like that?" She was like, "I'm just going to take some ecstasy so I can just, that'll override
whatever the fuck's going on."
But that was her mentality, just all in on everything. And for some people, it was too much, man. For some people, and I'm not friends with her now.
You grow apart.
Yeah.
Someone asked me if I was friends with Lana, and I was like,
Lana Turner?
Yeah, and I was like,
no.
I was like, yeah, I haven't talked to her, and they're like, you haven't talked to her since Ralphie's death, and I was like, it was Drew. I was doing Drew's podcast. I actually feel bad that I answered it this way. I was like, he's like, "Have you talked to Lana?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Why not?" And I was like, "I don't know." I just didn't have an answer for it. But the truth was, not to. And by the way, I hate that I'm doing it again. But like, I just haven't talked to her. Mm-hmm. I just haven't reached out, and then I feel like a shitty person. And I know anyone that's listening is like, "Why haven't you reached out?" I was like, "Well, it's not like."
Yeah,
I just talked to Ralphie. Like, I just talked to Ralphie.
Yes.
Like, that's all. Like,
Lana and Ralphie weren't exactly on great terms.
Towards the end, it was pretty bad.
Brutal.
It was pretty bad. Brutal. And I was listening to Ralphie a lot of what his feelings were, and I was feeling bad for him. I don't know. I don't want to fucking get into this again.
But here's, I felt bad, right? She called and she was like, "Will you be on my podcast?" And I told her, I go, "Lana, I just can't. It's not like things with the two of you are good, and I have to pick a side here. I can't run the middle because I've known Ralphie forever. He used to babysit my kids. Like, yeah. I don't hate you. That's not what I'm saying. But I feel like I'm not being loyal to my friend who I know would not love it if I went on your podcast. That's what it was for me. It's not that I didn't reach out to her because I had any animosity towards her, but I felt like I had to choose a side. Does that make sense at all?
We should change the subject. There's something I want to talk to you about.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel bad about that. I haven't stopped thinking about that. Like.
But you can still reach out, dude.
It becomes so fucking
I
complicated.
know, but like, it's one of those things that just, if you just make the call, you stop thinking about it. If you just send the email or send the text, and the text can be, "Hey, sorry this took so long."
Yeah, I should send a text.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. I kept thinking, like, what would happen to Leanne if I died? Like, I don't think she needs anyone. Like, I don't think she'd ever. I really don't think she'd expect Tom like Segura to reach out. I think she'd expect Push to reach out. They're friends.
Yeah.
But I don't think she'd expect
I
Tom
agree.
to ever fucking call her. She's never. I mean, they've never talked on the phone.
Yeah.
Why would Tom all of a sudden be like?
Why do you have her number?
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I think Joey would. I think Joey would stop by our
course.
house and just check in.
Yep.
But that's Joey. Like Ari would. I don't think Ari would ever speak to Leanne.
But that's the thing. Like, do you?
Ari's my friend. Like,
do you expect them to?
No, I don't think. I don't care if Ari ever talks to her. If I die, I don't need him to check on my family.
Right.
I would hope like if something happened like financially with them, that my close friends would do something like like they do for Patrice's mom. I guess, but I think they'd be fine. I think I'm not going to leave them in a spot. God forbid something happened to me. I think I have covered life insurance, and they could figure that they don't need that. I've set it up so that they don't need benefit done once a year for them.
Right.
Patrice just wasn't that guy. He didn't think of it that way. I don't know.
I've thought about that before. I have 4 grandkids.
Yeah.
So I've thought about that before too. Like, what happens, and who would circle the wagons? And that's when you started talking about you have friends and you have friends. That's when you start to make that list. You realize, oh, these are my. When you make that list, that's when you realize, oh, these are the people. Do you know what I mean?
It's funny too because I was thinking about this last night. I was like, if I died, I guess maybe the store would do something for me, but I don't. Not that many people would show up. Not as many as they show up for Brody.
But Brody was a different animal.
It was Brody. That was his home for fucking
different animal.
Every year. I would imagine. Maybe I just have like a regular funeral. I guess.
Have you thought about your funeral at all?
Yeah, a lot.
What song are you coming into?
Changes by Blind Melon.
I would wager a guess that you're the only person that's playing Blind Melon at their funeral, except the band members of Blind Melon. There is nobody else who's like, roll that Blind Melon song.
I don't. I've thought about who I want to speak at my funeral.
Do you want it to be funny?
No.
You don't?
No, because my kids are there. They're not going to fucking laugh.
But don't you see? I want my funeral to be a party. I want the 4 grandkids there.
No, I want everyone crying.
You do?
I want everyone really sad. I don't want anyone. I want everyone really.
Nobody
really
having
sad.
fun?
No. No booze is served at my funeral. I want the food to be dry.
Terrible.
Yeah, I want everyone to be miserable. I would be happy if they would go in and have take everyone's suit in an inch so everyone's uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, everyone's wearing things that are too small.
I want the heat on.
Hot in there. Yeah. Shoes are too small.
I don't know. It's so funny. I've always said if I die that no one should really mourn for me because I've had the greatest. I've had one of the greatest lives anyone could ever get. I have done things unimaginable by some people and unfathomable by others.
Yeah.
Like I've had a better career than I thought I'd ever have. I still think I have an opportunity to do bigger things in this business, but like if I just ended it right here, dude, I'm through the fucking roof with just my career. And then we talk about Travel Channel. For 8 years, I just did bucket list adventures.
Yeah.
There's nothing I haven't done fucking adventure-wise or seen. I've seen almost all parts of the globe. I've traveled the world 4 times over. It's
amazing, man.
And so like I a lot of times I go at my funeral, everyone should be like, fuck, man, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Like I've been luckier than any human being, I would argue, probably in the world. I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
I would like my funeral to be on a beach. I want to be cremated.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I want to be cremated.
Yeah.
I want people to smoke some weed and maybe sprinkle a little Josh Wolf in there.
Ooh.
See what happens, smoke it up.
Yeah.
And I just want it to be a party. I want my kids to celebrate the time.
But that's like,
you know what I mean?
I think about that like with the Luke Perry stuff going on.
Oh my God.
His kids are still
I know.
pretty young.
His kid went to school with my son.
They live right down the street. Those kids live right down the street. So like because like Patrice's funeral was apparently fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It was fucking everyone who's anyone in stand up was there, and they were just destroying on stage, at the church.
Right.
Do you want that? Like
Yes. I want people to remember it and be like, that was a great time. That was a great. How
do your kids compartmentalize that loss?
Well, that I maybe do 2 separate ones. Because last night with Brody, it was such a great combination of jokes, stories.
Well, people are telling
stand-up.
stories about Brody on stage.
Some. Ian Edwards got on stage and he was like, because Steve Byrne had been on behind him before him, and he cried a little bit. And Ian got on stage. He was like, "Give it up for Steve Byrne, that pussy." And he goes, "Why is everyone so sad? What is this, a funeral?" I mean, it was really, you know, because it needed some of that too. Yeah. I think the blend of some hard, like, I don't want my mom on stage cracking jokes about me being dead, but what's Joe Diaz going to do? Joe Diaz is going to be Joey Diaz. Right? Yeah. So, and since our friends are funny people, wouldn't you want Tom to tell a funny story about you?
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I just got to think of the lineup then.
Okay. All right. Okay. So say, how many people do you give in the lineup? 4 or 5? It can't be.
I'm going to go 5.
Okay,
I'm going to go long.
So I go, for me, without a doubt, because started doing stand-up with him, it's got to be Joey is one. Now, are we just doing comics, or are we just saying, because are you throwing your sisters in there too?
No, my sisters aren't going to speak.
They don't get to speak?
No, they won't. I just know them. They won't.
Who in your family is going to speak?
No one. My mom would. But it would be a bad idea.
So who you? I go Joe Diaz. My brother Dan is really funny. If I'm picking one of my brothers and one of my cousins, I pick my cousin Scott, mostly because he's super cute and he was on TV and it'll give me a little cred. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah,
that's a good call. That's
a good one, right? Yeah,
That's a really good call.
Let me think what other stand-ups I put in there. I would maybe ask Chelsea. I've known, she's the last person I dated before I met my wife, so I've known her. Yeah,
Chelsea would be a good fit. You got a bigger draw than I do. That I'm thinking. I
don't think so.
Of like friends, because
you got Segura for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like,
you're not gonna have Rogan do it.
I don't know. I don't think this turns into like I don't want to be an imposition. Like I would definitely want Joe. If Joe wanted to, I would want him to say something.
Right.
My funeral. Okay, I wouldn't mind my buddy Weicho because he's not really good at public speaking.
That's good.
And so he'll cry, and that'll be a good one.
Yeah,
he'll open with him.
Oh, you're opening with tears.
I'm opening with tears.
Okay,
my buddy Weicho.
What's it say his name again?
Weicho.
Weicho.
My buddy Weicho would open it.
Okay.
Then I want Stanhope going up.
Oh my God, who's following Stanhope?
Joey Diaz.
Oh my God, who's following those two?
Tom and Ari are going up together.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right?
That's a good one.
And then I'd close with Joe.
Wow.
I'd close with Joe.
That's that. So no family members.
No, not at all.
I'm going with a couple family members because they know some of the best stories.
All I want is entertaining. I just want people going up and crushing. Ooh, maybe get Bill Bert. Maybe get Bill Bert to talk about
That's a crazy lineup. That's like Tuesday night at the store. I mean,
I'm going to start hanging out with Jim Jeffries more just so I can really have the best funeral.
That's a good one. Get a nice little one. I mean, I like it. You're opening up with your friend who's not a great public speaker who's going to cry.
Oh, yeah. Weicho, I've seen him cry before.
Yeah.
And it's fucking do you want to hear a great story of this guy?
Yes.
If Weicho hears this story, he's gonna fucking shit himself.
Spell his name.
Weicho. His name's Maurice, but his dad is an old like Texas oil like farm country man, like real like old school. His dad's got to be like 80 now, but like old school when we were kids. His dad was old school. His dad moved down to Peru and started a company of like a farm equipment company, and the company the government had a coup d'etat, and they kicked out all the Americans, and his dad stayed down there and sent his kids back to Texas so he could try to salvage something.
Yeah.
And literally was like, I guess I'm going to war. Yeah. His mom's Peruvian, his dad's old school Texan. In the war, like in the Korean War, I think, or
And
like
is he still in Peru?
No, they live in Florida now. His dad's one of the funnest guys to drink with. His dad is fucking hilarious, but like old school. So his dad gets a boat. I think it's probably his first big purchase. Like in retirement, gets a boat and says, "You guys want to go fishing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we go out in Tampa Bay, out off McDill, and a thunderstorm rolls in. And both Weecho and I are scared. We're fishing, but we're scared. We're drinking beers, but we're really scared. Mm-hmm. So I said, "Hey, we should get in." He was like, "Yeah, we just got out. And my dad just got the boat. I don't know if he's going to want to take the boat in." And I was like, "Yeah, but the storm's coming at us. And we're on the water, and there's a lot of lightning." And Weecho goes, "Yeah." And he comes back, and it's a small boat. It's like a flats boat. And he goes back to his dad. He's like, "Hey, Dad, maybe we should take the boat in. I'm a little scared of this light." And he goes, "God damn it. This is what's wrong with you fucking boys. Is you have no fucking man in you. You think I was scared when I was in fucking Korea? You think I could go up to my commander and go, 'Hey, SARS, there's lightning. I need to get the fuck out of here.' No, I fucking fought in that fucking war, and I didn't get fucking hit by lightning because I'm not a pussy. Now man the fuck up, put your rod in the water, and fucking drink a beer and fucking fish." And so Weecho just turns around, and he goes over to the other side of the boat. He just passes me. He goes, "We're not going in." So lightning gets really fucking close to us, right? And I am terrified. I'm literally...
How old are you?
I don't... Maybe 22, 24, 25 maybe.
So like a man.
Yeah. I'm definitely older than 22. I'm 25, 26.
Okay.
It's getting really close to us, and I'm looking at his dad, and his dad is not flinching. He is not scared at all. And I am like fucking trembling, and I'm looking at Weecho, and Weecho's not scared. I'm like, what is wrong with me that I can't be like these two men? And I go over to Weecho to be like, "Hey man, I'm really like, I gotta open up." And I go up to Weecho and I go, "Weecho," and he looks at me and he's sobbing uncontrollably. He's like, "I want to go in. I want to go in." His dad doesn't know. He's just crying. And so I was like, "Okay, good. I'm not that bad." But yeah, Weecho opens it up because he cries. He's not, and English is his second language. Although he wouldn't say that, English is his second language. So sometimes it's not anymore. He's a grown up now. But when we were kids, he'd fuck up words, or he'd fuck up the way he says a word. Like he used to say Budweiser instead of Budweiser.
Oh,
Rottweiler.
Yeah,
is that a Rottweiler?
You know who Joe Diaz used to mess up sayings around my kids?
Yeah.
One day he was like, "You got a memory like a hawk," and I was like, "That's not right, dude."
You got a memory like a hawk.
I go, "That's not right." He goes, "No, it's right." I go, "No, that's not right." He goes, No, it's right." I go, "Joe, it's eyesight." He goes, "Joshua Wolf, a hawk leaves a tree in a forest every morning, flies around that forest. All the trees look the same, but it finds its way back to the same tree. That's a good fucking memory." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have a..."
How the fuck does a hawk do that?
I don't know.
You got a memory like a hawk.
Memory, he was like, find that fucking tree. I'm like, I don't know, dude.
Oh, that's fucking good.
Yeah. Memory like a hawk was always my favorite.
Joey would be great speaking at a funeral.
He'd be great. He has so many great stories.
He has such great perspective on life.
Yeah.
Too. Like, he called me up 2 days ago yesterday, and he goes, it's like first thing in the morning, he goes, "You're a good man, Bert Kreischer." And I said, "Oh, thanks, Joey." "Why are you saying that?" And he goes, "You know what? I haven't seen you at the store, and I'm glad. He goes, "You're fucking working hard as shit on the road. Spend that time with the girls. Not enough of us are being dads. We're out there working our ass off." Mm-hmm. He goes, I like that you're taking time to spend with your kids. I love this. Almost like a prescription. Pour yourself a double Tito's and soda. Fucking sit in your recliner, sit with your family, and fucking love your family. I love you, cocksucker." Clunk. Yeah. And just hung up. And
Stay
you're
black.
Like, stay black.
Yeah.
Joey's the fucking best.
Yeah. You know what I do really appreciate, and I've known him since before my kids.
Yeah.
He picks up the phone. He's not going to text you.
Yeah.
He's not. He wants to hear your voice. He picks up the phone. Old school, and he makes connections. And you know what? His phone calls with you are no more than 3 or 5 minutes. But he always tells you something that makes you feel good.
He does.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That comforts you in some way. He's really, man, I've seen so many different Joe Diaz's, but this one is like he's still funny and bananas and smokes weed, but he has such a different perspective now, and arms wide open, truly Uncle Joey than he's ever had.
Yeah.
Like the only other person when I thought about who would cast as wide a net as Brody, maybe Joe, right? Maybe Joe Diaz.
Hopefully I die before him. I don't want to go to that one.
No, dude.
I don't want to go to that one.
But he would tell you, if you had asked him, when he was over 300
He told
pounds.
my dad the other day, he goes, yeah, we got money on him whether or not he makes it through this tour. And my dad goes, what? And he goes, we think he's going to die. My dad got so concerned. My dad's like, buddy, are you going to be okay? I go, Dad, it's the way Joey talks. Fucking let it go.
If you had asked me when I first met Joe Diaz, when I first met him, he was probably 215 pounds. Really? He wore a 3-piece suit on stage. I have some pictures of him in his suit on stage. Really? Yeah, man. And he used to pace furiously. And he was really intimidating. I mean, he would pace, man. But he got really unhealthy for a little bit. He called me. I don't know if he's ever told this story, so maybe I shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like I am.
Yeah.
But there were times where if you had asked him, do you think you'll live till you're 40? He'd have been like, no fucking way. 50? No.
How did he gain weight?
He gained weight because he was doing so much coke. I never quite understood how he gained weight. And not only that, he did a ton of coke and he walked everywhere. For a while, he didn't have a car. Yeah. He would walk from him and his ex's name was Carla. He would walk from their house to the store, which was 4 or 5 miles. He would walk back to my house. He was walking everywhere. He's an extreme dude. He went from not smoking cigarettes to smoking a pack or two a day. And have you ever seen him smoke? He has lungs he must have an extra lung. A cigarette was 2 drags. He would put it out.
6 years ago, I was going through some shit really bad. Yeah. And I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I started going to therapy, and Joey found out through the grapevine that I was going to therapy and called me and was like, fuck that shit, cocksucker. He goes, I meet you at Maria AC every morning. I didn't realize it was a way for him to start smoking again. Yeah. And he was tearing through cigarettes.
At a crazy pace, right? And one took almost an entire cigarette. But there were times where he looked so unhealthy. I'm so happy right now that he looks.
He's in such a good place.
Yeah, man. His daughter, him being able to have a new start. What happened with his daughter previously, I think, really fucking killed him. Yeah. And so I think this is really giving him. I'm curious if you can see how white my legs are. Can you see?
Yeah. Why do you have such white legs?
You think that? I mean, look at that.
What? Your legs are really white.
White, and look how thin my ankles are. Look at that.
What's that tattoo say?
That's drunk. It's a couple of letters there. I get drunk one night and.
How many tattoos do you have?
See, now you say tattoo.
I just said it that way, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I like taking a word and owning it forever.
Tattoo.
And Ben Affleck.
Is that Ben Affleck?
Yeah, Ben Affleck.
I like that. Ben Affleck sounds like a medicine you should take. I have a wedding ring because I lost a bunch of mine. I got 2, one here. I got one here, and I got one on the ankle, and that's it. Are you a tattoo guy? I
don't have any.
Are you gonna ever?
I guess I'm not.
Yeah, you hit an age where you're like, why now?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I get part of me. I wouldn't mind. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting one, but I don't know what I'd want. I never have liked leg tattoos, but I saw a really cool one on this guy's it was really cool on his shin.
That's gonna hurt a lot.
I know. Yeah. Can I tell you the one I really want to get?
Yeah.
This is my first one. I want to get a face one.
Oh no.
And have of the state of Florida right by my eye.
If you were looking for people to take their opinion, I would vote a hard no on that one.
D'Elia just started getting them.
But not on his face.
On his hands, though.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think he's doing them. I mean, I'm not speaking for him, but I think he's doing them based on his specials.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah, because the first one's Fire. I think that's from Man on Fire.
I wonder why the hands, though.
You know what his second one is? It was an eagle, and I think his name of his last special was Eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my theory is off.
I wonder why hands though. Why? I mean, starting at hands is really
it's a
aggressive.
really interesting place. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it.
I thought they were like henna.
I thought it was a henna. I thought it was a press on, and he was like, "Hey guys."
Yeah.
But no, they're real.
This tiny one on my finger hurt more than the other ones, but that's why the thing on the hand, on the top of the foot, every time I see a shin tattoo, all I can think about is how much that must have fucking.
You see how many people were getting Enjoy It tattooed on their wrist?
No.
A lot of people, I think. Maybe I just saw one.
And then somebody just reposted it 100 times?
I get depressed when I look, like, the internet can depress me.
Yeah.
Like when I hop on the internet and then because I get FOMO really easily.
Yeah.
And then last night I saw the picture of everyone hanging out on stage for Brody's thing. And I was like, God damn it, man. I should have, I couldn't, but
just come down on Monday.
Yeah.
Just come down on Monday. That's what I think we're all, there's a bunch of us will be speaking, and I think it'll be the same thing, except I think a little more personal because there'd be a lot more of his childhood friends, my buddy and his buddy Tana, who we started doing stand up with in Seattle's coming down. Like I think it's gonna be a lot deeper, I think, on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should come down though, man.
I'm gonna come out on Monday. I'm gonna do Conan then head over.
That's really fucking, pretty great, dude.
What's that?
Are you excited to go back on Conan?
Yes and no. Here's the only reason I'm not excited is if you do well on Conan, it burns material so fucking hard. You have no idea. Like if you do really because you want to do well, but if you do well, then it fucking you forget how his online presence. His show's huge, but his online presence. People go to his interviews on YouTube and watch him ad nauseum. If you're on one of his interviews, people go, "This is going to be funny," because they know Conan's funny. And so I did that period party on Conan.
Yeah, and
it got fucking 30 million views.
Get out.
And now I go on stage and everyone's like, period. I go, my daughter's got their party, got their periods, and everyone starts going, period party, period party. I go, guys, that's the punchline. If you
yeah. Wait, do you ever? I had somebody send me a message online. They were like, I was disappointed to hear some of the stories on stage that you told on your podcast. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
How?
Person's out of their mind.
But because that's how we find stories a lot of times.
So a lot of my act shows up in my podcast where I'm like talking about something, and then I go, ooh, I'll say to myself, that is I should really explore that.
Yeah.
Or I'll try something out to I told Drew a punchline I was thinking of in my head, and it worked, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw that in the act.
Yeah, no, it happens to me all the time. Something will come to me that it'll elicit an emotion. On my podcast, I started talking about gender reveal parties and how nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
No, nobody coming to your party gives a fuck, and I would even guess only one person in the relationship gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I went on a little bit of rant, and I was like, oh, I like that topic. I'm going to bring that on stage. So I tried it on stage, and that was with a woman sent me. I was disappointed to hear the gender reveal on stage because I had already heard it in the podcast.
I think sometimes I know that if you're I told a story one time that happened to me on Rogan. And and Rogan wasn't even in the room. It was me telling it to Red Band, and then Rogan came in the room at the end of it, and it was funny. And I was like, "Oh, that's a funny." He just heard half of it and laughed, and I was like, "Oh, I'm taking that on stage." And I remember people would be like, "I heard that on Rogan," and you're like, "Yeah, I definitely told it there."
Yeah.
But you can't. You know what's funny? My sister had a gender reveal party for her son. Now she was pregnant. We cared because she didn't want a boy and he didn't want a girl.
Oh, well, that's exciting to go watch.
So it was...
Who was upset?
They cut the cake and it was blue, and my sister got really upset. She was like...
And was somebody videotaping that?
Oh, no, we were laughing so hard because my brother-in-law was going, yes, yes, fucking yes, I'm getting a son. Fuck yeah, I'm so glad it's not a chick. And my sister was just like, I don't want a boy. I wanted a little girl. It was so fucking
Did you
funny.
care that much?
I don't give a fuck.
I didn't care either, man.
I cared. My gender reveal was at the gynecologist.
Yeah.
The gynecologist is like, "Do you want to know what you're gonna have?" We're like, "Yeah." And she goes, "It's a girl. See the hamburger?" And I went,
The what?
"The hamburger." And my wife could tell that I was like, I really wanted a boy. I'm so glad I got girls.
Why?
Dude, I love having girls. Our dynamic in our family is such a female dominant ball breaking family that it's like, I love that. I love the connection. I mean, I guess I never had a boy, so I couldn't tell you, but the connection you get, like, they really are doting. Like the other day, my daughter came in and I was in bed and she came in and got my bed with her breakfast. And I like looked at her and I was like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I just thought I'd have breakfast with you." And I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "I know you're not getting out of bed, so I thought I'd sit in your bed and eat breakfast."
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh, nice." And then I'm thinking, I'm setting her up for failure with men. Low standards, baby. Low standards.
You know, my son said to me the other day, I was talking to him and I was sick. And I was like, what do you want? What are you going to do when I get old? Because he was complaining about helping me. I go, what are you going to do when I get older, man? He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, when I need help when I'm older. He was like, well, why do I have to do that? I was like, well,
who's going to do it?
Yeah. I said, who else is going to do it? And my daughter's name's Caitlin. He goes, well, what about Caitlin? I'm like, exactly. You know what? I should have just gone to her to begin with, because both my sons, my oldest son is in the Army, not much of a caretaker, and my youngest son doesn't give a fuck. So my daughter, I should have known. I'm like, yeah, I've been spending too much time with you. I really need to put a little extra time into the person who's going to be taking care of me when I'm older.
Oh, my youngest will not be taking care of me.
No,
100% not going to be. She won't be taking care of herself. Georgia will be taking care of everyone. This is my biggest fear. If something happened to Leanne, I'd be fucking. I'd be fucked. I would be fucked. I would have to find a new wife. Stat.
What do you on the list of things that you need to do to keep the house running? How many of them do you feel like you're not prepared to be able to do?
Today, for the first time, by our shower is a crate, like an old milk crate, like you get it like Restoration Hardware, wherever, that all the towels are in. The other day, yesterday I got out of the shower and I looked and I thought, I never have once put a towel in that crate, and it's always got towels in it. And I thought, I wonder how those towels always get here from Leanne. She's always put towels in there. That's the only person that's ever put towels in. So today, I grabbed a stack of towels. I'm soaking wet from the pool.
Yeah.
And I see towels on the thing. I go, I'm putting towels in there.
You were so proud of yourself, weren't you?
I grabbed the towels. And I was like, I brought him in, and I go, hey. And then I put him in the thing. She goes, what are you doing? And I go, that's the first time I ever put towels in there. And she goes, I am well aware of that. Oh, I don't do anything in this house. I make dinner. That's all I do. I make dinner. I make food. That's it.
I recognize being proud of yourself for the most ridiculous thing. You're a grown man. Like, why? Look at the fucking towels.
I put those towels in there, and she's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know that. There was one time I took the trash barrels out to the curb. Mm-hmm. So I come back in, and right when I close the door, I just scream for whoever's in the house. Took the trash barrels out to the curb. Right? So nobody responded. I'm like, I took the trash barrels, and walk out in my wife's in her room. I go, hey, I took the trash barrels out to the curb. And she was like, yeah? And I was like, I just want to let you know I did that. And she was like, what do you want? Like a blowjob or a pat on the back? Like, this is what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
But I'm not used to doing anything.
I'm very monoscopic in like what I think about. I remember saying to my daughter was like one time, this is when she was younger, she was like, oh, Dad's got the life. All he does is like goes and tells jokes and travels for Travel Channel. And I go, yeah. She goes, all you get to do is just party. Oh, your life's a big party. Saying this at dinner. And I said, yeah. And my wife's like, well, do you have a problem with that? She goes, well, no, but how come none of us get to do that? And I go, hey, I've worked pretty hard so that all I get to do is think of jokes and party. That's all I do.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do. I don't do shit. She goes, and Leanne's like, yeah, and that applies to dishes. Like all the stuff that goes on in this house. I go, I'm sorry. I go, part of my deal is I fucking think, all I do is think about silly things all fucking day long. It's a blessing when you think about it, is to just think about jokes. Like, even like the Luke Perry thing, when he first got the stroke, I wrote a joke the day of. It's fucking horrible. Let's put a pin in this so we can take it out real quick if we don't like it. But I saw he was trending, and I go, oh my God, Luke Perry was Me Too'd, and my wife goes, no, he had a stroke. I go, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? And I go, it's better to have a stroke than be Me Too'd these days. And then when he died, I was like, well, I guess that's not that funny.
Yeah.
Although,
but what's the appropriate amount of time you're supposed to wait
for what?
To be able to make a joke about something.
Oh, right away. You can make it right away.
Right.
Yeah. I wrote a joke about Brody.
Did you?
Yeah. Last night I felt really guilty about not going. I wanted to be there, but I go, well, when you really think about it, Brody didn't want to be there.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, man. I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, like because I felt really guilty about not going last night, but we had this thing that I had to do, and I couldn't do half of it. I had to do the whole thing. And then when it got done, it was too late, and I was like, well, I'm not going to go over now, and I don't know.
But like I said, there's the 11th.
Yeah. The other thing is I'm taking a drug test on Friday.
For what?
And so I can't be around marijuana. And I knew the green room was filled with marijuana.
100%. Why are you taking a drug test?
Long story.
Do you smoke weed?
Yeah.
Here and there?
Here and there. When I can't smoke weed, I really want to smoke weed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll smoke it. I smoke it a little bit. Oddly enough, it fucks with my lungs a lot more than it does the average person.
Yeah.
Like I can feel it when I run the next day.
Are you not an edible guy?
No. I've done small amounts. You gave me those mints one time.
Yeah.
And I took one mint. I didn't really feel it too much. I think they were like 5 milligrams of mint, maybe. I drink. But if I took an edible, I drink a lot too. Like I get nervous that it's going to be too much.
So you need it to kind of even. You drink to even.
I would like to take an edible. I may take an edible next week.
Why not?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be hard partying days for me.
Why?
Because it's my last. I take the drug test Friday, and I just realized I probably shouldn't be talking about this like this. I'm going to be partying pretty hard after this drug test. We have a group of friends called the Campers that we all hang out. And I'm gone for the rest of March. I'm gone on tour for the rest of March, and I'm working every single day. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going hard in the paint. And we're thinking about going big, like going real big and like just fucking blowing it out.
Does that mean going somewhere?
We're thinking about possibly going somewhere. We're thinking about spending some money and getting a house at Malibu for the weekend.
Oh, shit.
Something like big. We want to go big. But
and will that include something outside of the regular, like every now and then, so if I'm going to treat myself special at a party and a big, it'll include mushrooms. Like that's the thing that
no one uses drugs in this group.
Just drinkers.
Me and Sandy is one of the moms.
Right.
And Tom sometimes, not anymore really. We'll smoke weed. But we're the only ones that smoke weed. And we're actually doing an escape room Sunday with the two families. So two of the families, we have 4 families that are all really close. 2 of the families are really close, and that's only because the 2 dads travel. Tom is a movie producer, and I'm a comedian. And so the 2 moms, Sandy and my wife, are really close because they help parent. They help cover a lot of bases for each other. Both our girls play softball at one field, so Sandy does pick up for both girls, even though they're on totally different teams. Both girls all the girls are roughly in the same age area, and so the 2 families. It's Lou, the youngest one's birthday, and so we're going to an escape room, and we were going to do family versus family, and then we thought, no, let's do like the parents. So Sandy and I are identical, and Leanne and Tom are identical. Georgia and Kylie are identical, and Isla and Lou are identical. So me, Isla, Lou, and Sandy are going to be in one escape room. So it's the morons against the geniuses.
Who do you get your money on?
Oh, us. I did an escape room with Isla one time with my family. Dude, it was like doing an escape room with Forrest Gump. They shut the door and lock it, and she turns around and I go, okay, where's our first clue? And she goes, Dad, if we can just find the key for this door, we can get out this door. And I was like, Isla, that's not how it works, baby. She's like, no, guys, they've locked the door. We just got to find the key. I go, that's, baby, so we're doing, have you ever done an escape room?
No.
Oh, they're fun as fuck.
Good to do to your family?
100%. So much fucking fun.
High or not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The only thing though, I'm going to do it high. There's a little bit of panic in we did ours on Lancashire, but it was like it was simply just a house on Lancashire,
Just like somebody's house?
Someone's house that they bought a house and they built 3 escape rooms in it. And they run an escape room out of this house. I'm almost certain it's on Lancashire or on Cahuenga, like over there. And I got a little panicked because it's not a nice house. It's not a nice neighborhood. And I was like, this is a great way for a serial killer
to lure people in.
To just literally order in for the night. Like, oh yeah, I have an escape room. Sure.
Yeah.
Click. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah. I had never thought of that.
Oh, I panicked a tad
It's like
bit.
the next Saw movie.
They literally were like, leave your cell phones, your purses, everything out of the room.
Anything where someone could identify you.
I brought my cell phone in. I was like,
Good
fuck
thinking.
you.
Yeah.
Leave my cell phone. Sure, buddy. Sure.
Did you guys get out?
Yeah, we got out. We did it. We got out. They had to you get like 3 hints, and we had to use all 3 hints, and we got out.
See,
it was fun. It was really fun.
I think I would do that. You know, my youngest son is also a weed guy. We don't smoke together, but I know he smokes and he knows I smoke, and he's high in front of me, but he's legal. Like, he's 21. There's nothing I can really say or do. But it would be fun to go do that with him and my wife and my daughter.
Can I tell you, I fucked up big time. We were talking. We were with my 2 cousins were in town. We were all at my sister's house, and we were talking about drugs and whatnot. And we were talking about cocaine, and I knew my daughters were listening. Isla out of nowhere goes, Mom throws up when she does cocaine.
What?
And Leanne goes, hold on, that's marijuana, Isla.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, same.
Yeah.
We're like, no, totally fucking different.
Yeah.
And so then the girls came off the couch and sat with us as we were talking about drugs. And they said, wait, can we smoke marijuana? And Leanne said, clearly it's legal in LA, but you can only do it. Leanne's like, I want you to do it when your brains are fully done developing. I don't want you to do it in high school.
Yeah.
I don't want you to do it in like when your brain's done developing, then it's okay to smoke weed. And Georgia says at the table, when it's legal for me and one of my brains developed, Dad and I are going to smoke weed for the first time together. And everyone went, huh? And I forgot I had told her that I never smoked weed, and that I said, if you wait to, I am the worst parent. I go, if you can wait till you're 21, then I'll wait and I'll never smoke it. And when we'll smoke it together for our first time. And they sat at the table and she goes, yeah, Dad's never smoked weed. And so we're going to smoke it together for our first time. And the whole table was like, looked at me like, you lied that bad? Like, holy shit. And I was like, ooh, I'm already in it. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of this one. I've already started it.
But here's the funny thing. Like, I'm for the legalization of weed.
Yeah.
And I would have a beer with my son. But for some reason, I still haven't crossed that we should smoke together.
It's because I think it's because when we grew up, it was because of our value system of when we grew up, of what age we are. Because my dad started eating marijuana, and I will not eat marijuana with my dad. I will not get high, but I'll drink a bottle of wine with my dad. I'll get drunk with my dad.
Why do you think that? And you even feel weird about getting high?
I feel very weird, and I'd feel very weird getting high with my children.
Yeah,
because I think it's our value system that was set in the 80s of like, just say no. Drugs are bad. The war on drugs. You don't want to get hooked. It's a gateway drug. And I think that fucked up our perception on how we should treat drugs.
Yeah, but I've always thought it should be legal. Like, I've never been a big...
I never thought... I never ever thought it would be legal. In a million fucking years did I think it would ever be legal.
I would agree with you. I didn't think it would be, but I always thought it should be. And I would rather have my kids smoke than drink, for me. But I still haven't figured out a way to sit down and smoke weed with them. I just don't know why I can't, why I think it's different. But I would sit and drink with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Would you have a drink with your daughter when she was 21? Would you share a drink with your daughter when she was 18 if you were at the house and nobody was leaving the house?
Probably. Yeah, probably.
But
like if I'll tell you what, if this is going to sound like really bad parenting, so don't hold this against me, everybody. But like say Georgia's like 16 years old and Isla's 14 and we go to Italy and we're in Italy and they have wine at the table.
yeah.
I'd be like, if you want, you can have some wine. I would definitely wouldn't have a problem with that. Even at that age, I'd be like,
Yeah.
you know, that's fine. I mean, at 18, 100%. I would never want them to need to sit at a table and have a glass of wine to enjoy dinner like I do, but I
Right.
would never want that for them because I don't want it for myself. Like I would love to be able to just go, I'll take a root beer the way my kids do. But instead I get to the table and I'm like, we got some fucking time. Let's get a bottle of wine over here. I wouldn't have a problem with Isla's definitely tasted vodka before. We went to this restaurant and you had to order at the bar and then bring it to your table. And Isla got a Sprite and I got a double Tito's and soda and I forgot which is which but I assumed I misgrabbed them and I gave Isla the Tito's and soda. I went back to the bathroom to take a shit and I came back and Leanne goes, "Hey dickhead,
No.
your daughter just took a full gulp of fucking Tito's and soda." and Isla was like, "Ugh."
What do you think? And I know for me, the grossest thing you've ever seen one of your kids do. I'll tell you as you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
We were at P.F. Chang's once. My daughter was probably 7.
Yeah.
And after dinner, you know, and her favorite dessert was gum. She wouldn't get dessert at restaurants. She'd be like, "Can you just get me a pack of gum?"
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't bought her a pack of gum. And I was like, "Babe, where did you get that gum?" And she goes, "From where I always get it at the restaurants where they leave it for us." And I go, "They leave?" She goes, "Yeah, at the bottom of the table."
Oh my God.
So what I found, Bert, was every time that I thought she was chewing the gum that I got for her at a restaurant, she had been pulling it off the bottom of the table and putting it in her fucking mouth.
Oh.
And I was like, first of all, you and I are never... You're never touching me with your mouth again. Like you're never kissing my cheek or...
Oh,
you know?
that's
But
horrible.
She was chewing the gum, and I was like, she's either going to be sick for the rest of her life or never sick again.
Never sick again.
Never sick again.
She'll never get anything.
By the way, she never gets a fever.
No.
She never every now and then her stomach will be upset or she'll throw up and then she's better. She never gets the flu. She never gets it. It's so fucking crazy. But she ate gum off the bottom of restaurant tables for probably a year.
Oh, that's fucking aggressive. Oh.
How much would I have to pay you?
Probably 20 grand. I got a low.
That's way low.
I don't know. Just pick up dinner. I'll tell you what. I'll pick up dinner. You leave the tip.
Well, 20 grand was way lower than
yeah, 20 grand. I'm good.
What's the grossest thing you think you've seen one of your daughters do?
I remember. I don't know. I remember. I think Isla jumped out of the pool one time. We used to have above ground pools way before we got this pool.
Yeah.
We always had an above ground pool, and Isla got an above ground pool one time. Went over to the yard, pulled her suit to the side, shit, and then put it back on and jump. I go, "You're not getting in the pool." I go, "You're not getting in the fucking pool." I go, "Go wipe your ass." Oh my God. I go, "Pick up your shit and wipe your."
Pick up your
shit. Wait, she goes, I go, "Who do you think is getting that shit?" And she goes, "Mom cleans up this shit in the yard." I'm like, "Oh God."
Yo.
Can you imagine scooping a human shit?
Can I tell you something? And I just started telling the story on stage because have you ever stepped in human shit before?
No.
There is such a difference in the way your body feels between stepping in dog shit and human shit. You step in dog shit, you're like, that's gross. You step in human shit. Oh. You know that crazy, irrational anger you get from stubbing your toe?
Yeah.
Multiply that. You don't know who to be angry at, but you're fucking mad. You stepped in human shit.
Can I tell you what I did the other day? I was walking. We were in the backyard. We're trying to set that hammock up. So I'm setting the hammock up. We're on a step stool. And I go in and I'm going to put all my socks and my shoes. I'm going to go for a jog. And I knew that I'd stepped in mud. Like I had mud caked to the bottom of my foot.
Yeah.
And so I went in to get the mud off. And I swiped it. And it was dog shit.
With your hand?
And it's all on my hand. And I'm like,
oh, no.
And then I walk and I'm gagging and my daughters are like, what? And I go, nothing. I go into their bathroom and my oldest daughter loses it. If you have dog shit on your hand, you're not going to our fucking bathroom. Oh.
How many times did you wash your hand? And how long did your hand smell like shit?
I washed my hand immediately. I went into their shower.
Yeah.
I washed my hand and my foot. I couldn't use my hand. That hand was infected all day.
I might have peeled my fingernails off just to make sure there was none left.
There's a video.
Underneath.
There's a video of Isla rolling in dog shit that is on Instagram. That is my favorite. I watch it every time I get. It basically she rolls in dog shit and she's like, oh, and I'm sitting over by the garage in a beach chair drinking a glass of wine. I remember this. I had just gotten this camera, and I was working on the zoom. I was seeing how far it zoomed, and I had a directional mic. I was trying to hear how the directional mic worked, and you hear me. I go, "Did you roll in dog shit?" And she was like, "No." And I go, "Did you roll in dog shit?" And Georgia goes, "It's mud." And I go, "No, it's dog shit." And she goes, "No, it's mud." I go, "Georgia, smell it and tell me if it's dog shit." She goes, "It's mud." I go, "Georgia, smell it." She bends down, smells it, pops up and goes, "It's dog shit." And I fucking fell. I literally couldn't get out of the chair. I was laughing so hard. And I literally was like, all you hear in the video is me going, it's dog shit.
I love in such a crazy way when things like that happen to your kids, it makes me. I know some parents would have rushed out of the chair,
dude,
but you reacted the right way,
dude. I remember I have a video of Isla learning how to dive, and she was on a dock, and she was like, you can see her like hands are like arrowed above her head. Her head's like chin on her chest, and she's like 1, 2, 3, and then just jumps and does a belly flop. And I was howling so hard. I'm like, try again, baby. Just going, please fucking do another one of those.
Yeah, because we need to be entertained. My kids knew at the house. Mm-hmm. If I turn walking around a corner, there's a good chance he's gonna be waiting there for me.
There's another video of Isla walking in the kitchen with all the glasses of water that were in her bed, and she's in her bedroom, and she's like got one in her chest. She's got 2 in her hands, and she's holding them together. And she's walking in, and I just go, hey, and she fucking drops all of them. I can't imagine. I've always said to the girls, I go, what's it like having me as a dad? And Georgia always goes, can be a little exhausting.
Dude, my daughter, when she was 9, told me, maybe 8, yeah, I can't be scared. And I was like, don't say that to me.
I can't be scared.
She was like, nobody can scare me. I'm like, that's because your brother, you're talking about your brothers. You saying I can't scare you?
I used to have a roommate who used to tell girls, I can't have an orgasm from blowjobs. And they're like, well, I'll show you.
Yeah.
And he was like, wow, you did it. Can you believe it?
Good job.
That must be you.
So she was like, I can't be scared. So I said, babe, don't tell me that. You challenging me? Because I know I'm a grown up, but like, are you saying you can't be scared? She was like, I can't be scared. I said, okay. She was probably 8. So it was her birthday party at my house. And I had my brother say, hey, you left my $20 bill for you out on the table, out on the patio. So she came out on the patio, and I was there in a scream mask. Not just a scream mask. I had my regular clothes on because I didn't want to go full. Yeah. And I didn't go woo or scare. I just went, hey. You know, like in a cartoon, dude, when someone jumps in the air and their feet go ding, 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 and she, boo, she ran, not kidding, full speed directly into the sliding glass door.
Oh my God.
She bounced off of it because she was so tiny. She got up, and this is when I knew she was my girl. She picked up the $20 bill. She wasn't running inside without her $20 bill. She got up, picked up the 20, ran inside, shut the door, locked it. I come inside laughing. She says to me that day, I'm going to get you back.
Oh, fuck.
6 years later, I'm coming up my walkway to my house. That house where you and Annie came and shot that thing with me one day.
Yeah.
So you're walking up, and on either side there was hedges. And I used to always think, man, somebody could wait at the end of that left hedge. And I scare real easily. I have 3 older brothers. I'm on pins and needles all the fucking time, you know? And so it was like late. I'm looking over my set that I had just done at the store. I'm a little high. And I'm about to get to the end of the hedge, and out from behind the hedge, she's wearing this white flowy dress and a scream mask. So she just kind of glides out, and she goes, "Whoa!" Bert, do you know like when you kind of wake up 50 feet later?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? My heart was pounding. I shriek when I get scared. I jazz hand. I'm breathing heavy. She walks up to me. She takes the scream mask off. She puts it, throws it at my feet, and she goes, "I've been waiting 6 years to do that to you." And she walked in the house, and before she got in the house, I just screamed, "I'm proud of you." Because I was like, that's the fucking way to do that, you know?
Our thing with me and my girls is, you know those sampler spoons they give you for ice cream, the little tiny white ones?
Yeah.
My sisters and I did it to each other, and they taught my daughters. My daughters and I do it to each other. We go up and we smack the person on the back of the neck with one of those sampler spoons. Ooh. So if you ever get ice cream,
you pull it back.
Immediately, all of us go, "Can I get a sample spoon?" And then the second we get sample spoons, it is game fucking on.
But you're driving, you must get hit all the time.
I got hit one time driving, and we're on fucking 101 right before the 405, and she hits me, and I fucking. And my wife goes, "Okay, game's over. We never play that again." Dude, I've gotten these girls so fucking good where they least expect it. Like, there's no one wears a goddamn ponytail in our house anymore. Because I'm telling you, I would take them to go get ice cream, and the first thing all of us do, sample things. The best one is my sister. This is when I was 22 years old. My youngest sister was 12. My middle sister was 20. And we were in the Bahamas with my parents, and my parents had just gotten back together. They had split up, thought they were going to get a divorce, and they got back together, but not everything had worked out between them. There was still a lot of tension between the two of them. And so we're in an elevator, and the keys were like maybe 2 inches long, or 2.5 inches long, and maybe half an inch wide. It was a weird key, but it was a plastic hotel key. So it was like half of what you know is a hotel key, the long ways. And we're doing it to each other. We each have the keys. We're doing it to each other. And my little sister, Gotti, looks at me and takes it up to my dad's neck and pulls it back and goes, "Huh?" And we go, "Oh, yeah. And she goes, smack. And my dad goes, "Motherfucker!" There's an elevator, right? An elevator. There's people in there with, "Motherfucker! This is why I don't want to be a part of this fucking family." And we're all just like,
"Oh, my God. This is why," like, he's been thinking about it. It's the first you heard of it.
Yeah, that wasn't the only time he said that. He said that again. I shouldn't say this. I feel bad because my dad came back to our family. We're a family. Everything's good. But there was a period where it wasn't good, and that happened. And then I got drunk in the Miami airport and tried to carry on a knife, and they wouldn't let me carry on a knife. And I miscalculated how a plane. I was like, "Dad, I've been traveling all over Europe. I know how planes work. I know it." My dad goes, "You've only been on trains." And I was like, "Dad, trust me. When they say the plane leaves at 5:30, that's when you board. It's at 5:30. And he was like, "I think you have to be there a half hour ahead." And I go, "No, Dad, we're fine. Trust me." We got there, and they're like, "Their plane's taking off." And my dad
flip out,
fucking melted down, and everyone left. Everyone went different directions, and me and my two sisters were sitting there going, "So are we going to live in the airport now?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Well, how are we getting back to Tampa? This is bad." I was like, I guess I'm just going back to Tallahassee. I don't want to go home. Fuck that. It was probably one of the worst experiences as a family I've ever had in my life. Ever fucking ever. In the Miami airport.
Our bad family experiences always happen just because my dad was cheap. You know, like, you never wanted my dad to pick out the hotel.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Massachusetts in a town called Amherst.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the college there?
Yeah, there's college there.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I went to college in Texas.
Yeah.
Just to get out of the Northeast. I wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
I went to college out in San Antonio. But my dad was just cheap. Like, if you didn't want him picking out the hotel.
Really?
You didn't want, no. If he buys you a flight, there's at least 2 stops. At least. Because he saved $27. So, do you know what I mean? It's one of those, that's not, but I grew up with that mentality. You know, it took me a long time to go into a restaurant, open the menu, and order what I wanted.
Really?
As opposed to, well, the chicken's $14. I should just order. I tried to.
Are you good with money?
Not as good as better now.
Yeah.
I wasn't when I first got it. Were you?
I've never been good with money. I'm still not good with money.
Is Leanne good with money?
Yeah, because she grew up really poor. So she is a.
Did you grow up with money?
No, I wouldn't say I grew up with money, because I didn't. But I didn't grow up understanding money.
That same thing. Like, I don't think my dad was ever that good with money, even though he was cheap.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, I grew up. We didn't have a car until I was a sophomore in high school.
My dad represented the Church of Scientology when I was young, like first grade, second
What do you
grade.
mean?
He represented the Church of Scientology
As a lawyer.
Yeah, in L. Ron Hubbard out of Florida. They were out of Clearwater.
Yeah.
And he represented the church, and they gave him like a big bonus to be their in-house counsel. And with that money, he bought a house, and like for $135,000, was a lot back then.
Yeah.
13% interest rate.
Holy shit!
That's not in the 80s. Isn't that crazy?
I'm stunned they hired a lawyer out of house.
That was it. This was the 80s. I mean, the
maybe
church
that's
wasn't
why,
the biggest. As it was big, like Travolta was in it. I'm trying to think who else was big in it at the time. But what had happened is someone had tried to run away from the Church of Scientology, and their family kidnapped them and brought them back to the church. And that person got away and was suing the Church of Scientology suing them. And my dad represented that person suing the church. And then I think this is right. I'm almost certain. He was representing that person suing the church, and my dad won. And after he won, the church came to him and said, "We want anyone who can beat our lawyers." And so they hired my dad and his partner. They represented the church and worked with them, was in-house counsel kind of a little bit for a period of time. And then my dad went to go get the money from the church that they owed him, and they were like, "Sorry, we're out." And then
out of money?
And no, they just didn't pay him. And so we bought this house for $135,000, but we couldn't furnish it. There was no furniture in it. So we lived in a house we had a family room, and we all had our own bedrooms, and we had a kitchen, but there was no that was it.
There was no furniture.
There was like 4 rooms with no furniture in it. So when you came into our house, there was like the first thing you saw was just a room with no furniture. But they didn't furnish that house until I was probably in we moved in there in 3rd grade. They didn't furnish it until I was in 8th grade.
Oh my
and so
God.
So we had money enough for me to get a car when I was 16. But I couldn't get not all my friends were getting the car they wanted, and I got the car that we could afford. I wanted the Jetta or a Scirocco. I wanted a Volkswagen.
Right.
And I got the Fox. Fox was $11,000, which was still a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the Jetta was $17,000. And my dad's like, "Nah, buddy, you're getting the fucking Fox."
Yeah, we the first car that I had and drove was a Reliant K station wagon, 4 on the floor station wagon.
Really?
Yeah, and I just realized that I don't think my kids will ever drive a stick shift. Did you grow up with stick or automatic?
That Fox was a stick shift.
Stick shift.
I had to
right?
learn how to drive a stick shift.
Do they even sell stick shifts anymore?
Yeah, Segura's got a stick shift. I think Joe's got a stick shift. I mean,
Must be for sports cars.
It's for sports cars. You can buy, but they don't make them. It's not an option as the stick shift was cheaper than the automatic.
Yes.
The automatic was $12,000
back then.
Stick shift was $11,000, and my dad's like, "You trust me, it'll be good that you know how to drive a stick."
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I drove a
All
stick
my cars
shift.
were stick shift.
Mine
my
too.
Jetta was a stick shift. my Fox was. I had 2 Jettas. I think they were both stick shifts.
I had that Reliant K. I had a Mazda 626 that I bought in college for like $900. And then my first big purchase, I did some work for Nintendo when I lived in Seattle. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, it was there was a game called Donkey Kong Country, which was their first big launch. And they made a VCR tape that told you everything about the game, and they sent it out to a bunch of people. And I was living large off of Nintendo money in Seattle. As a comic, it was fucking amazing. And I went and bought my first car that I really bought by myself was a Saturn.
Really?
Fucking stick shift. No,
almost got a Saturn.
Yeah, no air conditioning because I didn't need it in Seattle.
Yeah.
But I never appreciated a car more than I appreciated that Saturn that I worked my fucking ass off for.
My Eddie Bauer Expedition, it was probably a 1999 Expedition, and I fucking loved that car.
Yeah.
I love that truck. I leased it. I just leased it, and I fucking love that truck. I've loved every car I've ever owned that I've leased or bought as an adult. There's something, and I think it goes back to like us being grateful to even have jobs. Like that's the other thing is like I'm just grateful that I can make any money at all doing stand up. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I remember when I got that first car, I was like, I bought this car. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Amazing though, right?
Oh,
that. I remember like driving my parents' car or a car that my parents helped me get. And like, I didn't give a fuck. I'd eat in there, spill shit in there, whatever. But there was something about that. And it was a Saturn, man. It's not a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, wipe your feet off. I'm like, they're like, what?
Yep.
I'm getting in your Saturn. Yeah.
George and I, we just got this new Navigator.
Yeah.
Navigator? Yeah. And fucking Isla comes in combat boots and puts her feet up on the dashboard. I go, what the fuck? And she's like, what? I go, Isla. And she takes them down. I go, do you see those huge marks? And she goes, yeah. I said, clean it. And she goes, I'm not going to clean it, Dad. There's just going to be more marks. And I went, no.
Yeah, no, there are actually, that's the whole point of you cleaning it. There are not supposed to be any marks on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't quite get it. I'm glad that I made my kids get jobs in high school.
How old were they when they got their first jobs?
Well, my daughter worked in high school, and Jacob, they both worked in high school.
Really?
They both worked in high school. Where?
What did they do?
Well, my daughter always wanted to work with animals.
Yeah.
So she worked at some pet stores, and she also volunteered a lot in high school. But she worked at pet stores and stuff like that. And Jacob's worked, Jersey Mike's, worked on set with me. He's done a bunch of PA work, worked at camp counselor. Like, for me,
yeah,
that's when you start to realize what money is when you make your own.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
My kids have no fucking clue what a dollar is. They don't ask for money, and they don't ask for things. They're really weird. I think that's because of Leanne. Leanne gives them an allowance.
What's a going allowance right now?
I have no idea. What they get for an allowance. I have no fucking idea.
You don't know what the allowance is?
No, I have no fucking clue. Because I fuck it up because I come in and I'll have money.
Do you
for merch.
disrupt the flow?
Oh, 100%
of the house. You disrupt the flow, right?
100%.
Like it's almost easier when you're not here.
Way easier.
Yeah.
100% easier. Like I think life without me in this house, everything goes smoothly.
Yeah.
The second I come in, the girls realize they can pit me against mom. They can like there's a leverage that can happen. Like Isla and Leanne fight fucking aggressively. Like they got no fight the other day. This is my favorite thing that I've witnessed. Isla's not good at apologizing, right? Like I remember when we first bought this house, like the first week, they got into a real big fight, Isla in Georgia. We're coming up on 3 hours. We should probably wrap it up soon, but we get into
shit.
I know it's been fucking I can talk to you so easy.
Yeah, this hasn't felt like 3 hours at all.
So they get into a fight, they get into a fist fight, like a physical fight, and I break them up, in the kitchen, or we used to have a yellow kitchen in this house, and I said, hey, what the hell is going on? I go, you guys don't understand. You need to be a team. You should be a team against me and Mom. One day Mom and I aren't going to be here, and it's just going to be the two of you. And you need to realize that you have each other's backs. And after a fight like that, there's only one thing I want to see right now, Georgia. And Georgia looks at me, she goes, you're right, Dad. She goes, Isla, I'm sorry I hit you. I love you, and I apologize. And I go, great. I go, Isla, what do you have to say to that? And she goes, Georgia, I accept your apology.
That's awesome.
And so I go, no, you're supposed to. So Leanne and Isla get into a really big fight about homework. Isla misses 0 period, and it spills. It wakes me up. I'm up now because I think I went for whatever reason. I sleep in. I was going to spin class. Spin class doesn't start till 10. I sleep in. I wake up. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And they are fighting in the kitchen. And Leanne goes into the closet to start getting dressed, and Isla's stewing. And I go, hey, you need to go into that closet and apologize to your mom right now. And she's like, no. And I go, Isla, we're walking into that closet. So we walk into the closet, and she goes, fine, I'm sorry, to my wife. And my wife goes, fine, great. And Isla goes, great. And no one's apologized. And so Leanne gets up out of the closet and walks out. And I look at Isla and I go, hey, the fuck was that? She goes, Dad, that's all you're getting out of me. And I go, Isla, when you get in that car, you need to give your mom a sincere apologize. And she says, Dad, if I give in, she wins.
Oh,
and I went, oh, fuck, Isla. She goes, I can't lose this one, Dad. I'm like, oh no, this fucking broken brain here. Yeah. Jesus Christ. This is the same kid we had an IQ test that we were all taking.
Yeah.
This is the same kid that we get our IQ is lower than Forrest Gump's, and we go, Isla, what the fuck? She goes, you're not tricking me with that thing. And I go, wait, what tricking you? And she goes, I know what you guys are doing. I go, oh my God. Like, I guess she thought it was we were trying to pull one over on her. So she didn't answer any of the questions right. Oh my God,
dude. Well,
hey, what's up with your special?
Man, it did such amazing things online.
Yeah, like
I was blown away.
Someone said something to me that you said, and I thought that's so fucking true. You go I won't. You don't have to share this if you don't want to. Yeah. But someone said they were like, yeah, everything's hard in this business. Josh said, you really find out who your friends are when you release a special. Man, that could not be truer.
You do.
I for every special I've done, I've reached out to everyone, and I've only done 1 or 3 podcasts ever to promote my special. And by the way, I understand I'm speaking with a broad brush, and if I did your podcast and I'm not remembering it, I apologize. I'm not speaking of you exactly, but I can tell you that I've reached out to big people to let me do their podcasts, and they all say yes, but when it comes to the date of, they cancel because their schedule's too busy, except for 3 people, Ari, Tom, and Joe. Joe aggressively has been more of a supporter of my specials. He's had me on the day it premieres. He had me on the day before it premieres and the day it premieres before. He's had me on so many times to promote specials. Tom and Ari the same, but you really do find out like who's friends. Yeah, you really do. And you also kind of find out where people think you are professionally. Yep. Do you know, because I'm not going to mention names, but there's a dude who I've been friends with and who I know I've gone out of my way to help. And I reached out to him a couple times, and he gave me the worst excuses. But basically, he should have just said, I don't think you're going to help the numbers on my podcast. If he had said that, I would have respected it way more than the way it went down. Because at least I would have known he's saying, look, I like you, man, but this is a business for me, and I'm going to take care of what I think is the best for my business. I would have respected that. Yeah. But there were a couple guys where I was like, you know what? You just got to tell me what the deal is. Yeah. And you find out real quick. And but
it shook out, and the way it shook out helped me more because then it gave me an attitude. Well, like fuck this.
Yeah.
I shot it myself. I put it on my website, and then I broke it in clips and put it on my YouTube page. Last month, Bert. 200,000 new YouTube subscribers.
That's astounding.
Last month. Just breaking up that special has been the best thing.
It's the best thing. I really think Bert and I were talking about this. If YouTube released comedy specials,
yes,
like if they specialize in that, and obviously I think for them advertisers and content is restrictive. I think that gets really slippery with YouTube specifically, but having specials on YouTube, having comedy on YouTube is fucking amazing. A lot of people find their content through there.
I think they said something like over 70% of comedy is viewed on YouTube.
That's all I do is I go to YouTube.
Right.
That's all I do.
If
I watch new specials on Netflix.
Sure.
I watch Netflix, of course, with my family.
But do you watch specials on Showtime or HBO?
I haven't. It's hard to catch them.
Yeah.
Because it's like you got to be like a farmer.
Yeah.
Like you got to be like,
yeah.
Like, I got an alarm set for.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like my next special, and I don't know if Netflix will offer me anything.
Yeah.
But I talked to people who did Showtime specials, and I said, before I just released it myself, I said, how much did that help your ticket sales?
Zero. I did one.
Zero.
That specials I really think is really good. I released it on Showtime and it didn't move the needle at all. And then in a weird way, you're like, okay, so I burnt material that no one saw. Okay. And then I just chopped it up and put it on Facebook, and
crazy, right?
And that's what took off is that. And then now it's on Netflix, and it's trending on Netflix. That one special.
I saw that, man.
It's
kind of amazing.
And no one ever saw it on Showtime. No one saw it.
Yeah, it's
I'm not shitting on Showtime. I'm just saying like it
is what it
is.
is.
The business format is like it's a bad place for specials.
Netflix or YouTube, and other than that, it's more for me. It's more of an ego thing.
A lot of times you got to go like, am I in the mood to laugh right now? Because this is happening now. I can't slow this down.
Yeah.
As opposed to like with Netflix, I go, I kind of want to giggle. Like, let's see who they got. Who's like, oh, cool. The fucking. They've got 15 specials at 15 minutes, or the 30-minute specials where they're doing that. I love that, man. I think it's great.
Me too. I love that Netflix has really Netflix and Joe, I think in the last 5 years, have been the two biggest factors in just pushing comedy back into the forefront. You can't underestimate what Joe Rogan has done for stand-up in the last 5 years.
You can't overestimate it.
No.
Yeah, you cannot. And you can't. And I think it's really hard to quantify.
Impossible.
Because
think about his roster.
Here's the thing: is not only is he a fantastic stand-up, but he loves comedy so much. He believes in comedy so much that he puts people on like that are just really great. He had Tim Dillon on the other day. Fucking such a great interview.
He had Owen Smith on, man. Owen to me is a super funny guy who more people should know.
Joe's done a lot for our business.
Yeah.
More for our business than I think I would argue any one single individual since Johnny Carson.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say also, and she would be in third, Chelsea introduced a lot of people to comedy who didn't know comedy.
Chelsea did a great deal for comedy.
Yes, she definitely did.
I think she really introduced
in a different demographic.
But still, I'm curious. I thought what's she doing now? Is she doing?
I think like I said, I'm not really in touch with her, but I think she's doing a documentary for Netflix. I think she still, even though her show ended, I think she still has a deal there. I know her production company has got some scripted shit and stuff like that, but I wish she'd tour again. I just don't think she loves it.
Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah, you
gotta love it.
Have to. It's a grind.
Well, dude, this has been a fucking.
Dude,
this
thank
has been
you so
4
much,
hours.
man.
This has been amazing, or 3 hours. It's been fucking amazing.
Yeah, man.
I
appreciate you having me out. Oh my god. My wife.
Big snow year in Aspen so far. I'm gonna have to fly out and go snowboarding at the end of the season.
I've never skied or snowboarded in my life.
Oh, you should try it. You're perfectly fit for it.
Yeah, but at this age, when I fall down, bad shit happens.
I broke my rib and my fucking hand.
No. That's it. I don't play pickup basketball anymore. I'm not skiing. Like there are certain things after a certain age. I'm just not doing that.
Dude, what's all the things to promote? So Hall's going to write them down. I'll say them at the beginning of the podcast before we air it. But tell everyone what you got.
ComedianJoshWolf.com for tour dates. I do a talk show on Tuesday night on Facebook called Controlled Chaos.
Yep.
And Cleveland this week and New Mexico the next.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I love you, man. Thank you
so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Fuck yeah.